That was because she didn't treat Qin Fian as a man. She felt that kissing Qin Fian wasn't a loss. Because Qin Fian wasn't a man. They were like this now. At most they could be considered good sisters. Qin Fian felt very strange. What was going on today? No one came to pull him away. There was a reason why no one pulled him away. Old Master Qin stood up and gave everyone a look. No one was allowed to move. He laughed sinisterly in his heart. This girl wasn't bad. If she forced Fian, would she have a grandson to hug? So many people gathered here. It wasn't very convenient, right? But how should he say it, to send these people away? Qin Rongfang glanced around. Everyone knew to lower their heads. Jiang Zhao also felt that this was an interesting show. Today's wedding banquet was too interesting. He didn't bring any equipment. When he turned around, he saw Qiu Xiaoya sitting beside Yi, taking a video with her phone. She wasn't the only one taking a video. Many people were doing the same. He glanced at Grandpa. He was just letting him do whatever he wanted. Alright, Grandpa must feel that Fian was being pressed to the ground by a girl covered in stinky tofu. Using a mouth covered in stinky tofu foam to bite Fian's mouth, it was better than Fian saying that he was gay, right? Could this be the legendary, when things reach an extreme, they will move in the opposite direction? Xia Qian's looks were not bad. But with this kind of character, could she really satisfy Grandpa? Alright, Grandpa must now feel that as long as she was a woman, she could move, she could give birth. Qin Fian had more or less gotten used to the stinky tofu's dizzying and breathless smell. He suddenly had strength. Anyway, the woman on top of him was a piece of cement. He didn't need to be gentlemanly. Today, he threw all his gentleness to the heavens. But when he forcefully pulled away the woman's hand, the woman suddenly shouted, "What, you have chest muscles?" Pfft. Everyone at the banquet table spat out their wine. Qin Fian couldn't control himself. His hand went limp. The woman hugged him tightly again. "You have chest muscles. I'll reward you with one." "Great. Come kiss me again." Mwah. The salivating stinky tofu mouth bit him again. "Get lost." Qin Fian was already angry from embarrassment. "Wah, you have abs. You're really a cute bottom." Wah. Xia Qian was a media worker. When she was in school, her teacher said that media workers not only had to have a sense of social responsibility and a rational mind, they also had to have a certain quality. That was, they had to be unafraid of wind, rain, hard work, and tiredness. In the end, they were just shamelessly looking for news. So when she faced a beautiful bottom like Qin Fian, her professionalism came up again. Qin Fian flipped over and pinned Xia Qian down. Good, this woman wasn't afraid of death. Because her hand was obviously red from his pulling, but she still refused to let go. She was obviously a vengeful woman who couldn't care less. Just as he was about to break his hand to get this woman further away, Xiaoya stood up with her phone. The camera was pointed at the two people on the ground. Her high heels walked elegantly and steadily. "Yo, young Master Fian, are you going to hit a woman?" Qin Fian turned his head. F***ck. Unlucky day. What was this family trying to do today? Why were all the servants standing and watching? At this moment, he flipped over and saw that the people in the restaurant were all very gentlemanly. They were all sitting in their seats and watching him make a fool of himself. When he saw his grandfather's shining eyes, he suddenly understood. Good, this family was waiting to scheme against him. He lowered his head and leaned over to Yi Er's ear and said, "I'm actually not afraid of men and women. There are too many people here. Why don't we find a quiet place to continue? Don't tell me you want to perform a live erotic scene in front of so many people? You don't say. Your breasts look pretty good. I'll take a good look later." Xia Qian almost vomited because of Qin Fian's not afraid of men and women. She immediately let go and squirmed out from under Qin Fian's body. She stood properly and tidied her hair. She looked around at everyone and laughed dryly. "Haha, it's just a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. Everyone, continue. Xiaoya turned off the camera and asked Xia Qian in a normal tone, "How's his chest?" "He looks pretty skinny, but he often likes to show 3 buttons, so you can see his chest muscles. His figure should be pretty good. How does it feel?" Qin Fian got up from the ground with a dark face. He had never been like this in his life. He used to be a handsome man, but today he really became a stinky man. His face was full of stinky tofu smell. He originally wanted to get a brush to brush his face and mouth, but he heard the two women had already begun to talk about his body. Xia Qian sighed. Sigh, it's just so. Don't you know that you interact with models all day long? You can tell with one look that he has a good figure. His abdominal muscles are just so. Bottoms are usually very weak, so it's normal that his abdominal muscles are not very developed. It's not a big deal. Xia Qian prayed in her heart. Buddha, I'm just kidding. His body is really good. His chest muscles feel so good. His abdominal muscles are like small squares. Wow, it's true. He's definitely a top, not a bottom. Don't blame me, don't blame me. Qin Fian swore to himself. Bitch Xia Qian, your good days are over. After tonight's banquet, you're no longer a guest of sister-in-laws. I can torture you to death in any way I want. Yi listened to the conversation and felt that it was really interesting. It was a very interesting topic. On the other side, Jiang Zhao grunted. She turned her head and saw it. Hubby, is he angry? When they got home that night, Jiang Zhao ordered that they were not allowed to play with Qiu, Xiaoya, Xia Qian and the others anymore. Yi jumped up. Why? Ever since the incident with Zhang Ling's mother, she did not dare to look for Zhang Ling. She was traumatized and was afraid that Zhang Ling's mother would not like her. If she went over, Zhang Ling's mother would scold Zhang Ling again. However, she felt that it was good to hang out with Xiaoya and Xia Qian. Xiaoya was a few years older, but she was also a very fun woman. Xia Qian was even more so. She was very happy to hang out with them. Why was she not allowed to play with them now? No reason. Anyway, we can't hang out together. Although Jiang Zhao felt that the drama was good, Xia Qian, Qiu, and Xiaoya were too lecherous. There were so many people, and they were openly talking about men's muscles. They even asked how it felt. They even noticed that they liked to loosen the 3 buttons. Could they still be called dignified women? Yi was not so open-minded. It was one thing to close the door and another to go out. After being with him for a long time, she would definitely be led astray. In the future, wouldn't she be staring at men's chest muscles on the streets? Jiang Zhao, there's no such person like you. You've gone overboard. Back then, you asked me to get in touch with Xia Qian and hook up with them. Now you're not allowing me to do so. Jiang Zhao felt that this was a serious topic. His face darkened as he reprimanded her. Back then, you didn't marry me. Now that you're married to me, everyone in Haiqing knows that I, Jiang Zhao, will definitely get my father-in-law out. There's no need for Xia Qian anymore. Since there's no need for her, you're not allowed to hang out with them anymore. You're always fooling around all day long. You even find it interesting. Then what's interesting? What did they do to you? In his heart, Jiang Zhao had always treated Yi as a little girl. Especially after what she said at night, he was a little worried that she would be led astray. She was already very bad. She dared to drug men, take erotic photos, work at a nightclub, and even bribe a high-ranking official with sex. What else did she not dare to do? Fortunately, he was the only one she met from the beginning to the end. He was the one who saved her. But what if she was led astray by some indecent woman? Jiang Zhao tugged at the tie around his neck. After pulling it open, he threw it on the bed, took off his shirt, and walked towards the bathroom. Yin Yi, remember, the wife is the husband. Yi looked at Jiang Zhao, who was so arrogant, with his head held high and his chest puffed out. When he said those words confidently and leisurely walked towards the bathroom with his long legs, she wanted to transform into a beautiful female warrior and kill him. Forget it, if she killed him, she would lose her husband. Add. Hongcha 866. Chapter 545. Wife as husband. She had to listen to him? She didn't want to, but she was under his roof. The phone rang and the screen lit up. It was a call from Xia Qian. Did Xia Qian sneeze? She picked up. Hello Qian Qian. Hello Yi. Are you asleep? Yi felt that something was wrong. When did Xia Qian, that idiot, speak so gently and politely? She had never been like this since they first met. No, I'm just about to sleep. Why aren't you going to sleep? Are you going to skip class again tomorrow? Don't think you're so great just because you have a rich sister. You still won't be able to graduate. Let me tell you. Xia Qian's voice on the other end of the phone was rare and serious. She did not argue with Yi Er like she usually did. I just reached the dormitory and was about to sleep. Yi Er, I'm really sorry. Today was supposed to be your wedding banquet. As a friend, I should only give you my blessings, but in the end, it ended up like this. I was a little impulsive at the time. I have some grudges with that young master Fian of your family, so I couldn't hold back. Xia Qian hesitated for a moment before continuing. I didn't think much of it at that time, but I kept thinking about it on the way back. I felt that I shouldn't have done that. I only cared about my own comfort, and didn't care about the fact that you guys were the main characters today. I'm your friend, and I only embarrassed you a little. My sister also scolded me, but my sister would definitely only defend me outside. She would never say that I was wrong in front of others, but when she sent me back to the dormitory, she didn't stop scolding me. I think I should apologize to you for this. Yi Er, forgive me, I'll give you a big red packet during your anniversary celebration. Yi Er pouted and was so touched that she squinted her eyes. The pretentious feeling in her heart made her feel a little awkward. In her mind, Xia Qian was an idiot and was not much better than her. Moreover, she had always thought that she had more experience than Xia Qian when it came to matters of how to behave. She also thought that she had more experience than Xia Qian, and had a deeper understanding of how to behave. But she was wrong. Xia Qian was not a pure retard. She always seemed to have a fierce temper. She also knew how to analyze herself and recognize herself. She never thought that Xia Qian would apologize to her for this matter. In fact, she did not take it to heart. Could it be that Jiang Zhao felt embarrassed because of Xia Qian's behavior today? But it was better not to mess with Jiang Zhao. Anyway, she had forgiven Xia Qian. She liked to be friends with people like him. Jiang Zhao was so busy. He wouldn't know if she went out with Xia Qian and the others. Qian, what are you talking about? We're such good friends. Why would I mind? Besides, it's so lively today, really lively. I think this kind of wedding banquet is very interesting, really. Yi Er, are you trying to comfort me? Sigh, anyway, I'll be more careful next time. Yi Er sat cross-legged on the round carpet on the floor. She tilted her head and held the phone. She took out a manicure and polished her nails. Don't worry. Go to sleep. If you fail a course or have to retake it because of poor attendance, I'll definitely laugh at you. Huh? Hey, let me tell you, in novels the husband is always slept with by his good friend. You have to be careful. I'm very interested in Jiang Zhao. I think I'm more suited to be with him. He's handsome, has a good figure, doesn't have any scandals, and has such a rich family background. As a senior official, everyone wants to suck up to him. Hey, evil woman, if you curse me to retake it, I'll definitely snatch your man away without mercy. Yi Er thought about how Jiang Zhao liked women like Ouyang Yan, and couldn't help but sigh. However, she didn't want her friend to hear her displeasure, so she smiled and said, Don't worry, my husband will definitely not like you. And he won't even look at you. Look at you, do you look like a woman? People say that women are made of water, and men are made of mud. You're really. Xia Qian laughed and finished Yi Er's words. Made of cement, right? Haha, that guy Qin Fian actually said that I'm made of cement. That piece of plasticine is a little bottom, haha. Otherwise I would have flirted with him. Yi Er said. Stop daydreaming. Hurry up and go to sleep. Even if such a beautiful man isn't gay, he's not compatible with you. If he stands next to you, you'll be too ashamed to show your face. Haha, where will you find the confidence to be a reporter and a host? Don't. People in the media have to be confident. Don't worry, if I'm really given such a beautiful man, I'll definitely be able to make him obedient. I won't brag or daydream anymore. I'm going to sleep. Good night. Good night. After Jiang Zhao came out, he once again mentioned that he wasn't allowed to play with Xia Qian, Xiao and Xiaoya. Yi Er responded and said okay. Anyway, the best way to avoid a war was to have one side argue for what was right, and the other side compromise at the right time. And the one who was emotionally weak was the one who should compromise. Yi Er felt that she was the one who should compromise. Yin Hongwei's health had recovered. However, Yin Hongwei was still on parole for medical treatment, so he had to be careful of his influence. As he spent more time at home, Jiang Zhao hired a part-time worker to take care of the 3 meals a day and clean the house. He didn't stay at home at night. This way, Yi Er wouldn't have to worry about Yin Hongwei's daily life. Actually, Jiang Zhao didn't really like hiring a part-time worker to cook. He was fine with cleaning the house because Yi Er's cooking was very delicious. However, it was better if he was alone. Now that so many people were living together, he didn't want his wife to be like a nanny. That kind of feeling was very strange. Under Jiang Zhao's arrangement, Yi Er went to cram school to prepare for the college entrance examination next year. Since she was still young, studying was the best thing for her to do. The late autumn morning was beautiful because of the warmth of the sun. Ah Zhao, I realized that I'm not used to school. No, you have to get used to it even if you're not used to it. You just don't like me. She knew that Ouyang Yan had a double master's degree. Well, then why don't you go even though you know? Can't you not dislike me? I can't. Why can't you? That wasn't how soap operas were written. Because you're uncultured. It's very scary. They were talking about this again. This was the same answer as last time. This time, it was the same answer. How am I scary? I'm so cute, so sensible, so gentle, so considerate, so virtuous. Yi Er wanted to continue speaking proudly, but she felt that the atmosphere was a little strange. There was no sound at all, not even a snicker. It was very strange. Hence, she looked at Jiang Zhao's half-smile. He's mocking her. He's mocking her. Go and *CK him. He actually dared to mock her? Yi Er stretched her shoulders and raised her eyebrows slightly. She looked out the window from the corner of her eyes. Outside the window was a sea of yellow and orange. One day, her flowers would bloom and bear fruit. She raised her chin confidently and turned back to look at the tall Jiang Zhao. She said shamelessly, I'm so pretty, so beautiful, so dignified, and so intellectual. How can I be scary? This person only exists in the heavens and is describing me. Don't you know how to appreciate me? Jiang Zhao was already dressed and ready to go to work. He was standing by the bed to talk to Yi Er about school, and Yi Er helping him fix his suit. In the end, because of her behavior, he couldn't bear to leave the house. Yinyi, Yinyi. How can you continue to call yourself Yinyi? Ha. That name is as soft as cotton candy. Is it really suitable for you? Ha. Are you sure? Is there anything that I'm not sure about? When I dance, I'm like a cloud in the sky. It's light and beautiful. Yi Er decided to fight to the end. She was determined not to say that she was bad in front of her husband. She had to show him her good side. She was better than Ouyang Yan in many aspects. Her looks were inferior, her personality was inferior, her family background was inferior, and her education level was inferior. However, she could dance. She could dance many kinds of dances, and had even won awards. Could Ouyang Yan know how to dance? Oh. Then why don't you dance for me tonight? Sure. Is there a reward? Reward? Of course there is. I've never been a stingy man. Okay. One reward. You go down and I'll go up. Your sister. Yi Er was excited and wanted to ask for a reward. For example, the two of them could go somewhere romantic and make up for their honeymoon. However, before she could say anything, she saw Jiang Zhao's perverted look appear again. She reached out and pushed Jiang Zhao downstairs. Hurry up and leave. Hurry up and leave. I don't want to see you at all. Jiang Zhao was pushed all the way down the stairs. When they reached the door, he couldn't help but laugh when he thought of Yi Er's changing expressions. He changed his shoes and bluffed, haha, okay. Then I'll go on a business trip for a month. Yi Er's expression changed. She immediately took Jiang Zhao's briefcase with both hands and handed it to him. She poured it into his arms and said sweetly, Hubby, come home early for dinner tonight. I'll cook something delicious for you today. I don't think you're used to Auntie's cooking. Jiang Zhao looked down. At this moment, he deliberately held back his laughter. But you said you didn't want to see me. Yi Er looked up at the man and retorted, What? When did I say that? Jiang Zhao looked confused. Just now you told me to leave. You said you didn't want to see me at all. Yi Er stomped her foot and slapped Jiang Zhao's chest. She said in a resentful tone, "Nonsense. Hubby, let me tell you. You're a man. Don't slander me like this. You need evidence to back up your words. Do you have any evidence? She even said she would cook something delicious for you. How could you say that? It's so hurtful." "Evidence?" Jiang Zhao pursed his lips. "Oh, you're trying to make a false accusation. No. I just want to kiss my hubby." Yi Er tiptoed lightly and reached out to grab the collar of the man's suit. Her sharp mouth touched the man's lips. Mwah. She let go of the kiss very sweetly. Her slightly flat almond-shaped eyes curved into crescents. "Hubby, come back early. I'll go to the tutoring place today. I'll come back early to cook for you. I wish my hubby a happy job." After standing still, she walked to the door and pressed the handle of the door. She pushed the door open and leaned against the side of the door. She bent over and raised her hand to send him off. "Hubby, take care." This building was a floating villa. There was one unit on each floor. The elevator was about 10 steps away from the door. The front was very spacious. "You're so naughty." The man's leather shoes stepped out of the wooden house and stepped on the thick blue footpad at the door. He turned his foot gently out of habit. "You're always so naughty. How are you going to grow up?" There was a gentle reprimand in his tone, but the corners of his mouth curved into a charming smile. Yi Er looked at the man who was lifting his sleeve to look at his watch. When he finished looking at the time, he turned to look at her. There were large windows on both sides of the corridor from the door to the elevator. There was plenty of light. Awesome novel. Hongcha 866. Chapter 546. The floor leading to the elevator was cold marble, but the late autumn sun was so warm that it dyed the corners of the man's mouth. Yi Er's eyes, which had been curved into a crescent moon, slowly relaxed. Her smile weakened, and when she gazed at the man, she felt her eyes becoming a little misty. She gently swallowed her saliva and shyly tugged at the corner of the man's shirt. Very seriously, she tried to make herself more gentle. "Hubby, I really made the dishes you like to eat. Come back early." He only felt a very soft part of his heart. When he looked into the woman's eyes, it was as if there was a very heavy rubber substance that hit him hard without his consent. Jiang Zhao's heart suddenly shrank and tightened. He reached out and touched the woman's bun of hair on top of her head. Although his words were still not sweet, there was no reprimand in his voice. There was a kind of stretching tolerance. "Haha, when did you become like this? When Dad comes back from his morning exercise and sees you like this, he'll be scared out of his wits." Yi Er playfully wrinkled her nose. "I'm not going to talk nonsense with you anymore. Go to work. Hubby has to earn money to support the family, to support me. If hubby doesn't earn money, I won't have food to eat." "Haha, okay. I'm going. For my wife's 3 meals a day, I have to work like a cow or a horse." He lowered his head and kissed the tip of the woman's nose. Then he turned around and strode over to the elevator. Yi Er stood at the entrance of the elevator and watched the red numbers slowly decrease. In the end, it stopped at the first floor. From time to time, there would be a buzz in her ears, followed by the man's laughter. The laughter when he was in a good mood. She always felt that Jiang Zhao's laughter, especially when he wasn't so serious, was always charming. Even the laughter that burst out from his chest was charming, and it had a kind of impulse that made people want to hold on tightly to it. That sound could always ring in her ears at many times in many places. When she heard it, the tip of her heart would soften. It was as if, other than those sounds, she couldn't bear any weight. She was afraid that something would suddenly barge in and ruin the beautiful atmosphere. Sometimes people were very strange. The things you wanted to protect were clearly very simple, such as a kind of happy laughter. But even though it was so simple, it was so difficult to protect it. You want to play with him without any precaution and throw a tantrum. You know that he's just a male chauvinist. He just wants the woman by his side, Gigai, to be obedient. As long as you're obedient, playful and have a tantrum, he'll indulge you. However, when he indulged you, he would not be able to control his own strength and would always exceed that limit. For example, just now, she said that she did not want to see him anymore. Just like those main characters in soap operas, they said, "I don't want to see you anymore. Go away, and never come back." Just like that, they did not mean what they said. However, because he said that he would be on a business trip for a month, she was so scared that she didn't dare to continue being unreasonable. She wanted to be able to control herself and please him. She was not afraid that he would go on a business trip. She was afraid that he would go to the apartment in the north of the city. The world was fair. If you're willing to gamble, you have to accept defeat. She felt that her personality was like that. Since she was gambling, she could not be afraid of not being able to afford to lose. At worst, she would end up in a mess. At worst, she would end up heartbroken. She would not be like those people on television who would slit their wrists and die. She would not die. At worst, she would end up like that, heartbroken. Jiang Zhao said that one had to be forward-looking when doing things. As long as one saw the right thing, one had to set one's sights on the long term. Then one could let go of one's hands and feet, throw away all burdens, settle everything boldly and decisively, and kill one's way towards that goal. She was not that confident. She felt that since she was gambling, although the purpose of gambling was to win, she also had to consider the possibility of losing. She knew that at most, she would be hurt by him. She could afford to lose. Sometimes, when you miss someone, you just need to close your eyes and listen to the sound of the wind. In the wind, there would definitely be his voice. She felt that she was not an ordinary lover. He had just arrived at the garage, right? She missed him again. When Yi Er went out, she greeted Yan Hongwei and went to the underground garage. She liked the Wrangler. For a girl of her height, it was the best car to drive. She had just pressed the lock on the car, and then closed it again. She felt that it was not good. She wanted to go to the school to take a look. Although it could not compare to a Lamborghini, an off-road vehicle was already more eye-catching than a normal car. She did not want to attract too much attention. Other than the 2 million plus A8 in the garage, there was only a 7 million plus sports car in the garage. She knew that there was another car in the north of the city driven by the Ouyangyan. She reminded herself not to keep thinking about the Ouyangyan. As long as she was not caught in bed, she would not take these things seriously. She would just treat it as if she was lying to herself. She walked out of the garage and was about to call a taxi when she called Xia Qian. Qian, I want to go to your university. Did you go to practice outside today? If you're at school, we can have lunch together. Yi Er heard some noise on the other end of the line. Xia Qian's voice sounded like she was shouting. "Ah, Yi Er, your voice is too soft. I can't hear you clearly. Say that again." Yi Er raised her voice again and repeated herself. The 9th mansion was a typical building for the wealthy. It was the morning rush hour and many people were coming out. Some people looked at Yi Er and nodded gently with a smile as a greeting. The 9th mansion was not very big. There were not many people living there. Many people who appeared on the cover of the financial news, and many rich second-generation heirs chose to live there. Yi Er smiled awkwardly. Others did not know her before, but now they knew that she was Jiang Zhao's wife. She did not care about her image and shouted loudly. "Sigh." It was not easy to be the wife of a high official. Xia Qian finally heard her clearly. "Ah, you want to go to our university? Do you really want to go back to university?" "Sure. There are many colleges in our university that are holding classes for high school students." "Which college did you choose? What major are you majoring in?" "Hey, I bought a new car. Let me tell you, I'm near the 9th mansion. Wait for me, I'll come and pick you up." When Yi Er heard Xia Qian's excited voice, especially when she mentioned a new car, she felt like her tail was wagging to the sky. She bought a car? This girl was still a student, and said that a bag of 1,888 yuan was all she had. Now she bought a car? Oh, the car had to be booked in advance. She probably paid the money in advance before she picked up the car. She must be trying to take advantage of Xiaoye again. "Sure, I was just about to call a cab. I'll wait for you at the west gate. Take your time, there's no rush." After hanging up the phone, Yi Er continued to walk forward in her high heels. Her slim pants were pulled up to her long and straight legs. Her double-breasted beige windbreaker was unbuttoned, revealing the white chiffon underneath. The low-key color made her look even more elegant. A car stopped beside her. Yi er jejia. Qingsu rolled down the car window and waved at Yi er. Her voice was like an apple with silk on the skin. When she took a bite, the crisp sound of the apple crunching could be heard. The sweet and sticky juice stained the corners of her mouth. Yi er never expected to bump into Min Zikai here. Min Zikai was not married, and still lived with family. Min Yi er knew the girl in the back seat who greeted her warmly. It was Qingsu Lu. She had returned to family Min for a few years, and was only willing to take her late mother's surname. She was determined not to change her surname. Lulu, Yi er knew that Qingsu liked the surname Lu. Qingsu said that she missed her mother and introduced herself as Qingsu. Yi er waved at Qingsu and bent down to look at the driver's seat. The driver was Min Zikai. Look at this seat. She was clearly his younger sister, but she did not sit in the front passenger seat. She insisted on sitting in the back seat. Yi er jejia, where are you going? I'll send you. Qingsu's face still had some baby fat. She was very cute. When she smiled, her face was like a pear. It was so sweet that one could not help but want to take a bite. Haha. Yi er felt that she was the wife of a governor now, and could not be too disgraceful. She had to maintain her image. Lulu, there's no need. I have a friend coming to pick me up. Do you live here? Yes, I live here. We're neighbors. You can come to my house to play someday. Sure. Yi er said politely, but in her heart she thought, I don't dare to go. That man in my house is a state official, and I'm a citizen. The difference in status is very clear. If you're not Min Zikai's younger sister, I can consider it. Min Zikai could not help but want to interrupt. At this moment, his neck was about to break. Yi er, which block do you live in? Qingsu rolled her eyes at Min Zikai. She turned her head and waved at Yi er. Yi er jejia, come here. Yi er could only lower her head. Qingsu took out a pen from her checkered Chanel bag. She leaned against Yi er's ear and said, Don't tell him which block you live in. This guy is definitely up to no good. I'll give you my cell phone number. Give me a call later. I'll give you something good next time. Without waiting for Yi er to agree, Qingsu pulled Yi er's hand and began to write numbers. As she wrote numbers, she smiled and said, The happiest thing for me now is that you're not my sister-in-law. Just as she finished writing the number, Yi er went puffed. Min Zikai choked on his anger. He turned his head and shouted sternly, Qingsu. What are you calling me? Qingsu's enthusiasm for Yi er was gone. Her eyes were full of disdain, and her tone was extremely harsh. Drive your car. Yi er jejia, remember. Qingsu made a phone call gesture and put it to the side of her face. Yi er said, Aha. She stood up straight and lowered her head. She waved her hand and said politely, Goodbye. Qingsu slapped the back of the driver's seat and said fiercely, Drive. Min Zikai felt a little embarrassed. After all, Yi er was here. He gritted his teeth and said, Qingsu jejia, be careful or I'll teach you a lesson. Teach me a lesson if you dare. Be careful or I'll complain to your dad. Let's see who'll teach who a lesson first. Min Zikai looked at Yi er from the rearview mirror and gripped the steering wheel even tighter. She used to like wearing suspenders, hot pants and brightly colored clothes. Now that she was Jiang Zhao's woman, she could actually stand there so steadily. She didn't look like a girl who wasn't even 20 years old. He felt another slap on the back. He stepped on the accelerator and suddenly stepped on the brake. He turned around and said, Little bastard. Qingsu lost her balance and almost hit her head on the back of the front seat. She supported herself on the back of the seat and fastened her seatbelt. She was a little frightened and said, Min Zikai, you're the bastard. Get lost if you don't know how to drive. Min Zikai had already stepped on the brake. At this moment, he was suppressing a ball of fire in his heart. He reached out to open the door and get out of the car. Qingsu snorted softly and said, If you don't behave as my driver today, I'll tell your dad what you've done when we get back. Don't think that your mother can protect you. Your dad will still break your legs. Awesome novel Hongcha 866. Lu Cheng followed behind Jiang Zhao and took some files. The meeting will begin in 10 minutes. Jiang Zhao strode towards his seat and nodded. All right, prepare the materials that should be prepared. It's ready. Then wait for me outside for a while. After Jiang Zhao finished speaking, he sat down and opened the left drawer. He turned on the computer and took out his work notes. While waiting for the computer to turn on, he took out a pen and flipped open the work notes and quickly wrote down some things. Lu Qing left. Qin Fian stood up. Seeing Jiang Zhao talking and doing things, he knew that he must be very busy. Brother, when will your meeting end? Not long. I just need to pass down some things. It's equivalent to sending down some spirit from the top. It'll be quick. See, you like to do such formalism. Fei Yan curled his lips. I'll wait for you. And is there something? Yes, I want to take you to see the land at 326. Although the subway doesn't pass through there, I found that the terrain there is soft and there is a lot of underground water. The surrounding area is also empty. We can buy it and build a resort hotel. With running water, isn't that good? Why don't I spread the news that the subway has changed its route, and that the land is not valuable anymore? I can buy it cheaply. Jiang Zhao's computer was already running. He touched the PowerPoint document and opened it. On the screen was a bird's-eye view of Haicheng. He looked at the contents of the work notes while typing quickly on the keyboard. He did not raise his head to look at anyone. Fei Yan, is there any land you don't want to eat? Let's go take a look. Okay. Wait for me here. Okay. When we go over, let's take Minsheng Road. I'll go there to buy some things. Okay. Yi Er did not drive. She was sweating more than Xia Qian and wanted to jump out of the car. People said that the scariest thing when driving on the road was to meet a female driver. It was her first time on the road. Wasn't Xia Qian a female driver? Moreover, this devil refused to let her drive no matter what. He even said that he wanted to practice his driving skills. Oh, practice? Was she using her life to practice with her? Xia Qian, change to another road. Take Minsheng Road. Minsheng Road is not blocked now. Let's practice there, okay? Okay. Anyway, I have nothing to do today. I just want to practice driving. Yi Er finally could not help but shout. You want to practice driving? I have something to do at the university. Oh, okay. Shouldn't friends keep each other company when you're lonely? So petty. After dealing with her, she raised her voice and said proudly, Okay, Mississippi, sit tight. Next stop, Minsheng Road. Please fasten your seatbelt. Yi Er grabbed the seatbelt with both hands. First gear. First gear only. Yi Er, did you forget what I said? I told you not to play with Xia Qian. If you want to die, go ahead and fulfill your wish. Don't drag me down. You know that I have parents and children to take care of. I haven't even had my honeymoon with my husband. I'm not even 20 years old. I'm not as old as you. Let me go and live for another 2 years. Xia Qian was not used to looking at the rearview mirror while driving. Suddenly, there was a loud honk from behind. A car rushed up. The driver rolled down the window and scolded. Do you F***king know how to drive? Xia Qian shook her head and retorted. I have a driver's license. What the F***ck can you do? The driver scolded angrily. 13 o'clock. Xia Qian stuck her head out and wanted to scold that person. She didn't have the ability to divert her attention to driving. As long as she turned her head, the steering wheel would tilt. Yi Er was really anxious. Driving was a matter of life and death. She leaned behind Xia Qian's seat and reached out to straighten her head. She was going crazy. You're not allowed to scold him. Do you know how one of the 10 most beautiful men in China's history, Wei Jie, died? F***ck. It's because he's too handsome that people look at him to death. Let me tell you, if you keep looking at that ugly man, you won't be able to look at him to death. You're going to look at me to death. I already said that I'm not interested in your F***king wish. Xia Qian thought about it and decided not to vent her anger. As she drove, she said indifferently, Who has a F***king wish? Yi Er said. You still say that you don't have a F***king wish? Isn't your license plate A4646*** just a F***king wish? If you have such a noble dream, don't drag me into it. Pull over. I'm a common person. I feel that a bad life is better than a good death. She looked down the aisle. No, once you get out of the car, I'll die of loneliness. Who told you to change gears? Who told you to change gears? First gear. Yi Er saw Xiaqian step on the clutch and change gears, and immediately stopped her. F***ck Yinyi, are you still my friend? Even if it's a normal city, you can still drive third gear. You even told me to drive first gear. Let me tell you, I can't afford to lose face like this. When I was in driving school, I could even change gears. You actually didn't let me change gears. Yi Er continued to go crazy. If you want to change gears, wait until I get out of the car. You dare to change gears? You're not allowed to change gears now. You're not allowed to change gears. We're done. Xiaqian wanted to show off her car addiction. How could she show off now? She could only drive first gear. Show off my ass. Okay, we're done. I agree. From now on, you drive your open road and I'll drive my sidewalk. Our paths are different. We can't make plans together. Yi Er sat back down beside the car door. Stop the car. I want to get out. In your dreams. Xiaqian immediately changed gears, and the car sped up. I promised you to drive on Minsheng Road, and you still want to abandon me. You disloyal B***tch. I want to be with you in life. Even if I die, I'll be with you. After saying that, she laughed maniacally. Yi Er knew there was no hope. Getting out of the car was a dream. This woman wouldn't stop the car. Forget it, they were almost at Minsheng Road. This road was new and there weren't many people or cars. He should be more at ease. Besides, second gear wasn't too bad. But just as he was thinking, Xiaqian stepped on the clutch again, and quickly changed gears to third gear. Actually, third gear wasn't considered fast, but he was sitting in this demoness car. Bang. Okay. Yi Er's head was leaning against the window glass, and he was still holding on to the handle. Xiaqian's sudden braking caused Yi Er's head to hit the car door frame. This second-hand car's interior wasn't smooth. It wasn't covered with real leather, and was very hard. Immediately, some warm and moist liquid flowed down from his forehead. Just as he was about to scream, Xiaqian, who had just escaped death after hitting her head on the steering wheel, arrogantly pulled open the door and got out. Yi Er felt that his injury wasn't serious. Now that Xiaqian had gotten out of the car, he had to help. He covered his forehead and prepared to open the car door to cheer Xiaqian on. As long as no one died, he should still be friends. But just as his feet touched the ground, he saw a familiar car opposite him. That's not right. The person who got out of the car was also familiar. It was very familiar. It was Qin Fian. He covered his forehead with his hand and held it in front of his face. God. He quickly pulled his hand back. If Qin Fian saw that she was injured and bleeding, Jiang Zhao would definitely know. Jiang Zhao had said that he wasn't allowed to play with Xiaoya and Xiaqian. If Qin Fian told the truth, she would definitely be skinned alive by Jiang Zhao. Qian, forgive me. I'm a coward. And we're all acquaintances. Fian won't do anything to you. After thinking about it, he quietly closed the car door and hid his head like a turtle. Qin Fian's spectacles were on the bridge of his nose. He looked very refined. Xiaqian watched as the man walked over. He was so flirtatious. Although it wasn't too cold and most men were still wearing shirts and suits, this man was so flirtatious that he had 3 buttons on his shirt unbuttoned. A white shirt and a pearl pink suit. He was 2F** king flirtatious. He was obviously a flirtatious man, but he had to wear spectacles to pretend to be refined. This little bottom was really tempting. Xiaqian suddenly became interested in the top behind this little bottom. His taste was really good. It was such an ecstasy to get such a beautiful bottom. Qin Fian didn't want to get out of the car at first. There was a driver. But when he saw the familiar car owner get out of the car aggressively, he suddenly had the determination to teach her a lesson. Once the wedding banquet was over, he wouldn't have to give her face anymore. Beauty novel Hongcha 866. Chapter 548. Looking at Xiaqian's increasingly wretched expression, he could vaguely guess what she was thinking. This was because every time she mentioned something about top and bottom, she would have such an expression. He lifted his collar, and went around to the hood of his car. He sat on the hood and crossed his long legs leisurely. "Miss Cement, you hit my car." Xiaqian pursed her lips lazily. "Ha, Mr. Little Show, you were the one who hit my car first. Your car was swaying. You hit it first, Miss Cement." "Mr. Little Show, your car is obviously too wide and too big. You hit me because you were standing on too many roads. This road is not delineated and I did not violate any traffic rules. How can you say that I hit your car?" Qin Fian did not mind using his power to pressure people. He had always felt that he was the scum of the rich third generation. He rarely pretended to be kind and magnanimous outside. Most of the time he ignored the Qin family's teachings to keep a low profile. "No matter what traffic rules you broke today, you have to pay me back today." Xia Qian looked at Qin Fian's car. "Wow, how much did a piece of paint cost?" No, she was determined not to pay. "You have to pay me back." "Sure, we'll get someone to appraise it. I'll pay you back for the paint, and you'll pay me back for the paint." Qin Fian slanted his lips and whistled. "Miss Cement, you have to pay me back today no matter what. Otherwise, if the director of the Transportation Bureau comes, you won't just pay me back today." Yes, that's right. He was like this. He liked to show off. To show off that he had a lot of connections and could easily crush a girl from a small media school. But compared to those rich second generations who blindly showed off, he was much more cultured. Keeping a low profile was the main thing, and showing off was the secondary. Jiang Zhao was sitting in Qin Fian's car. When he saw Xia Qian get out of the car, he called out to Qin Fian. They all knew each other. However, Qin Fian said, "Brother, just let me off this time. Just sit in the car and don't come out. You're doing me a favor. If you get involved, you'll make things difficult for me and sister-in-law." He had promised Qin Fian that he would sit in the car. Unlike other ordinary cars, he could roughly see the people inside the high-end car. When people outside looked into the window, they could only see their own reflections, but when he leaned back and looked out the window, he could see everything that was happening outside. He had seen Yi Er's shoes the moment they touched the floor. He had bought them for her. He liked to buy her dark colors. First of all, he didn't really like the bold colors and styles, even though she looked good in them. Second of all, he knew that he was being selfish. He was older than her by a whole 10 years. Because of work, it was impossible for him to be like Fei Yan, who was bright and beautiful all day long. His work environment had to be composed of clothes with colors as the main theme. It was all the same, and the one that could change the most was his tie. If he made her look bright and sunny while he himself wore heavy clothes, how could they be compatible? She used to say that he was an old cow eating young grass, but he would never admit it. Since he couldn't be flamboyant, then he would make her look like a mature autumn. Actually, buying things for her was very troublesome. Those women's things were really dazzling. He thought that she would look good in anything. 2 pairs of black high heels were placed there. He clearly wanted to choose a normal pair, but in the end, he still chose the pair with the crocodile print. Like her, she had a wild nature in her bones. Actually, he liked that wild nature of hers. There were only 3 pairs of that pair of shoes in Haicheng. It wasn't too cold in this season, and she didn't like to wear stockings. Today's pants were slim. The moment her feet touched the floor, he saw the tattoo on her bare feet. He had asked her what it was, and she said it was a Persian chrysanthemum. She liked it. The moment her feet touched the floor, she immediately retracted them. Was she trying to hide? Could she hide? He took out his phone. Out of habit, he just wanted to make a call. But when he saw that the driver was still sitting there, he lightly smacked his lips and leaned back in his chair to make himself look more nonchalant. He searched for Yi Er's number, clicked on the envelope icon, and started to write a message. "Are you itching for a beating?" His finger hesitated for a moment. His thick and long eyelashes lowered over his eyes for a moment. He opened his eyes again and glanced at the driver in the front. He lowered his head to look at the phone screen. His face was gloomy, but the content of the message was, "Good wife, what are you doing? Did you miss me?" When he sent this message, he shuddered. Goosebumps appeared all over his body like bamboo shoots after a rain. It was too disgusting. In the room on the bed, he had whispered to her. That kind of feeling was completely different from what he was feeling now. This was the first time he had sent such a disgusting message. The message was sent successfully. Jiang Zhao looked at his hand that was holding the phone in disgust. With his other hand he slapped it with a PS sound. He despised his own bad behavior, and scolded himself in his heart. Who told you to be cheap? Who told you to be disgusting? Who told you to be mushy? When Yeer took out a tissue from her bag to wipe off the blood on her forehead, her phone rang with a ding-dong. As she foolishly used tissues to wipe the wound on her forehead, she took out her phone. Her hands were covered in blood. Her bag and phone were red from all the rubbing, but she wasn't very afraid. It was the outside world that was scary. The last time Jiang Zhao had a nosebleed, she was scared to death. She didn't know that bleeding could be so peaceful. She swiped the screen and looked at the message. The corners of her mouth twitched, and her heart flew to the sky. Oh my God, hubby, are you expressing your love to me? Sweet after bitter? Spring after winter? She was so excited that she wanted to call him. Just as she was about to do it, she felt that it wasn't right. Texting was so romantic. Her husband was already starting to be romantic. If she called him, wouldn't it ruin the atmosphere? No, she had to pretend to be reserved. Hubby, I'm about to reach the university town. I've been thinking about you. I even think about you when I'm walking. After sending the message, she held the phone under her chin and smiled foolishly. How could she care about how fierce the battle outside was? There weren't many cars on this new road. Even if two cars bumped into each other, it wouldn't cause a traffic jam. Qin Fian supported himself with his hand on the hood of his car. He was still sitting on it. He looked at Xiaqian disdainfully and curled his lips from time to time. He wrinkled his nose as if he had seen a pile of feces. Hey Cement, do you know how to drive? Yes, I got 99 points in the written exam. Xiaqian imitated Qin Fian and became a model for her car. However, her car was a little slanted. She could only sit on the hood from the side. She raised her chin and tried to make her posture as arrogant as possible. The two of them seemed to be chatting. They smiled and said, "Your car is not straight. Don't you know how to tell?" Of course I know how to tell, but now I think it's your car that is not straight. Xiaqian studied broadcasting and hosting. She often had to adapt to the situation. However, every time she had such a class, the teacher wanted to take out a ruler and hit her head like the old teachers in ancient times. Because she always talked nonsense when she couldn't win the argument. Oh, Qin Fian's phoenix eyes were very beautiful. At this time, he took off his glasses and looked very charming. Looking at Qin Fian's appearance, Xiaqian was lustful again. Thinking that he was a bottom, she sighed and said calmly, "When I sit in the car, I think my car is straight. When I sit in the car, I see that your car is not straight." Qin Fian held the glasses with one hand and still supported himself on the hood of the car with the other hand. He had to think about it. This woman was impossible to reason with. He even wanted her to apologize. Okay, call the traffic police and let them deal with it. It's right to let you retake the exam and get 99 points. Because the reason you got the last point wrong is related to how the car is considered straight. Traffic police? Xiaqian knew that there was a problem with her skills. When Qin Fian mentioned the director of the traffic bureau, she was actually a little panicked. Although she knew that she had her sister's protection and she didn't need to be too afraid, she was still afraid of causing trouble for her sister. You can't even win an argument with a woman. You only know how to ask the traffic police. Funny. I forgot that you are a bottom. Of course you need to find someone to help you. Is the director of the traffic bureau the master behind you? His red phoenix eyes narrowed slightly and emitted a ruthless light. At this moment he put on the glasses again. Ah, Cement. Qin Fian stood up, lifted the collar of his pink flirtatious suit, and walked towards Xiaqian. Xiaqian smiled. Handsome man. Xiaqian almost screamed when her shoulder was held tightly, but she held it in. She only stretched out her hand to grab the man's hand. Damn, little bottom is so strong. She started to think again. Was the master behind this guy even more powerful? What kind of perverts were they? Ah, Cement Miss Mississippi. Qin Fian was not angry, but his smile was cold. He exerted some force and pushed the woman onto the roof of the car. His gaze was ambiguous, but his tone was dangerous. Yes, last time you were talking about my chest and abs. Do you want me to show you? Last night you were with a man, so today you should try another woman. It's only interesting if you have a change of taste, right? Qin Fian remembered Xia Qian's wonderful expression when he said that there was nothing between men and women the last time. What was this called? Haha, it was a psychological attack. Just by looking at her green and white dogshit face, one could tell that she was disgusted to death. Although Xia Qian wanted to vomit, it was too embarrassing. There was still a friend in the car watching. She reached out and tugged on Qin Fian's shirt, smiling pervertedly. Look at you, you are so sexy. It's such a cold day and your shirt is so open. Aren't you afraid of catching a cold? If you catch a cold, my heart will ache. After saying that, her small hand reached in and touched him. Chest and abs. What's the point of looking at them? It's better to touch them. Qin Fian looked as if he had been touched by a ghost. His face suddenly turned red, and he immediately let go of Xia Qian and backed away. He felt that his whole body was covered with worms, and he felt uncomfortable. Xia Qian now knew that Qin Fian was puffing himself up at his own cost. Why, she couldn't touch them. Was it pure? Did she only like to be touched by the Lord Commander? She was disgusted just now, but now she was playing with him. Touch them again. They feel good. Why don't we go into the car and touch them? At most, I'll let you touch them too. Xia Qian dared to say this because she was sure that Qin Fian would not touch her. He was a complete homosexual. Last time, he did not touch her indiscriminately, but only verbally to scare her. Qin Fian's face turned even redder. So it was really a piece of cement. I don't need you to pay for it. He admitted defeat. It was too scary to be entangled with such a shameless woman. Xia Qian jumped over to block Qin Fian, who was about to turn and leave. Hey, don't you want a change of taste? Give it a try. I don't have a boyfriend anyway, so it's not considered cheating. Get lost. Just as Qin Fian finished yelling, the backseat door of his car was pushed open. The man who got out of the car had a gloomy look on his face. He wondered if it was because he had gone overboard with his sister-in-law's friend. Brothers don't do that. Just as he was about to complain, he saw Jiang Zhao walk past him and toward Xia Qian's car. Xia Qian was stunned. Jiang Zhao was there too. Attention, Xinwu 799. Chapter 549. God, why did she embarrass herself in front of Jiang Zhao again? She even called Yi Er to apologize on the night of the wedding. Actually, she was afraid that Jiang Zhao would think that she was shameless. Great, now he was watching the show again. Yi Er was holding the phone with her head lowered and leaning against the back of the front seat. She smiled sweetly as she waited for her husband to reply to her message. She glanced at her phone several times, but there was no message. She thought that her husband was too busy at work and mistakenly thought that the message was not sent successfully. She looked at the record and saw that it was sent successfully. The car door was pulled open and Yi Er jumped in shock. The tissue paper that was covering her head fell to the ground. She was completely unaware. She turned her head and saw Jiang Zhao holding the phone. His hand was gripping the phone so tightly that his knuckles were white. She sat by the door and looked up at the man's face. His thin lips were tightly pursed into a line. His neat short hair made him look energetic. His bright eyes were burning with anger. He looked like he was about to explode. Then she looked at the man's eyes. Anger, surprise, and finally, she frowned and panicked. Yi Er knew that she was wrong. She was completely wrong. This was the consequence of disobeying her superior. Her husband had clearly ordered her to do so, but she had disobeyed him. This was unforgivable. Her eyes were averted and her eyelashes fluttered. She did not dare to look into Jiang Zhao's eyes. She gently squeezed out a sound from her nose. Then she tugged the corner of her mouth and wanted to give him a smile. However, when she saw that he looked at her with disgust, her smile became ugly and she did not know whether to laugh or cry. Hubby, I was wrong. I shouldn't have disobeyed you. I clearly promised you. But I secretly went back on my word. Jiang Zhao's lips were straight. When he exhaled, his voice was hoarse. Yingyi, you're asking for a beating. Yi Er raised her head again in a panic, looking at Jiang Zhao with fear in her eyes. Was this challenging his authority again? Why was she living such a coward? Yin Yi, you coward. She stretched her neck and stuck it there. When she looked up, she was furious. Jiang Zhao, are you done? I have friends too. I have the right to make friends. My friends are here. Can't you give me some face? If you want to be angry, can't you talk about it when we get home? Even if I don't listen to you. Can't you leave me some leeway outside for the sake of our relationship as husband and wife for the rest of our lives? When have I ever been rude to you? Every single time I've been bothering you. Yi felt that she was good at pleasing people, but she was not as good at quarreling as Xia Qian. Sometimes, she was envious of Xia Qian for having an older sister like Xiaoya. Just because her younger sister said that she wanted to experience life, Xiaoya would take her to a nightclub to find gigolos. Her younger sister had provoked a rich young master outside. She had provoked him to her heart's content. She had provoked him to the point where she was about to be put on the spot. An older sister had stood up and said, "Young Master Fei Yan, are you trying to hit a woman?" She wanted to help her out. His nose and eyes responded. She deserved it. She was still a child at 17, but she had to be a father and a mother. Now that she was married, she had to live her life carefully. How could she be such a coward? Jiang Zhao's chest started to rise and fall violently. You're still in the right. Yin Yi, are you still in the right? He bent over and extended his arm towards Yi Er. Yi Er saw Jiang Zhao's outstretched arm and instinctively resisted. She slapped it away and retreated, complaining, Jiang Zhao, I'm not going with you. If I go with you today, I'm a coward. Let me tell you, if you embarrass me like this in front of my friends, I won't live with you anymore. You're too much. Jiang Zhao didn't care about that. He was tall. Even Yi Er felt uncomfortable sitting in the car, let alone someone of his height. He stuck his head into the car and grabbed the car door frame with one hand, and reached out to grab Yi Er with the other. The girl still tried to avoid him. She knelt on the seat and grabbed Yi Er's hand to drag her out. Yi Er saw that Jiang Zhao didn't answer her at all, and his face was full of anger. Ever since the two of them got together, she rarely saw that bronze-masked face. Sometimes, she even forgot how he looked like when she went to the Qin Palace to threaten him back then. Now that she thought about it, it was like that again. This man was like a top-notch ancient sword. He still had those exquisite patterns, he still had such a noble origin, and he still had such a high value. Now that the sword was out of its scabbard, he wanted to kill her. Because she saw the anger in his eyes growing stronger and stronger. Yi Er was angry and scared. At this time, Xia Qian was also frightened. Oh no, is Jiang Zhao angry? It's fine if I cause trouble, but what if I implicate Yi Er? She glanced at Qin Fian. Qin Fian frowned and asked softly, Why is my sister-in-law in your car? Hey, don't talk about it. They're about to fight now. Why do you care about that? Qin Fian scolded Xia Qian. It's all your fault, you troublemaker. F***ck. Xia Qian really wanted to fight with Qin Fian again, but now wasn't the time to settle personal grudges. She walked behind Jiang Zhao and patted his shoulder lightly. Brother Zhao, Qin Fian almost vomited. This woman made of cement was actually so polite. Xia Qian was about to shout again, but Jiang Zhao had already backed out of the car. When he looked at her, his eyes not only saw her, but also saw someone holding a knife, ready to chop her up. His gaze was frightening. She was so scared that she took a step back and shouted softly again. Brother Zhao, Yi Er, she stuttered. Xia Qian. Jiang Zhao didn't care about his image anymore. He reached out and clamped down on Xia Qian's shoulder. He gritted his teeth. Xia Qian. Don't think that just because you have Xiaoya protecting you, you can cause trouble all day long. Xia Qian gulped. Men can't be like this, right? Can you be fierce to women just because you're handsome? She scolded herself in her heart. Xia Qian, oh Xia Qian, when will you change this habit of fantasizing about handsome men every time you see them? I didn't do it on purpose. Jiang Zhao threw Xia Qian away. Xia Qian was pushed away and was caught by Qin Fian. Qin Fian let go of her in disgust. Xia Qian fell to the ground and cried out in pain. Qin Fian, you stinky man who doesn't know how to be gentle with women. I curse you to have your anus burst. Qin Fian was not in the mood to care about her. Jiang Zhao got into the car again. This time, he used a lot of strength and dragged Yi Er out. The two of them looked like they were about to fight. Yi Er's face was covered in blood and she kept struggling. Jiang Zhao was furious. He tightened his arms and held the woman tightly against his chest. He lifted her up and carried her away. When Qin Fian and Xia Qian saw Yi Er's appearance, they were so shocked that they could not speak. Xia Qian was lying on the ground with her mouth agape. Yi Er shouted anxiously, "Jiang Zhao, you bastard, let go of me." Jiang Zhao's ashen face did not relax just because they were on the main road. However, this place was too remote, and there was still a distance before they could reach the populated areas of Minsheng Road. Yi Er was being dragged and carried by him, and Yi Er was struggling, making it difficult for him to carry her. At this moment, he squatted down and flipped Yi Er over onto his lap. He raised his hand and slapped Yi Er's buttocks twice. Pia pia. Yi Er was stunned. Qin Fian and Xia Qian were both shocked. After Yi Er was beaten, she stopped. Her father had never hit her like this since she was young. He hit her buttocks so hard that there must be finger marks on her buttocks. Not only was her head covered in blood from the collision today, she had also embarrassed herself in front of her friends. Now she was being hit by him. Jiang Zhao did not say a word. He placed Yi Er flat on the ground and let her stand on her own. He did not carry her anymore and forcefully pulled her by the hand towards Qin Fian's car. He pulled open the car door and placed Yi Er on the ground. He turned around and said, "Qin Fian, what are you trying to do? Can't you afford to compensate for the collision?" Qin Fian coughed awkwardly and quickly walked over to Jiang Zhao. Xia Qian knew that Yi Er was injured, and that Jiang Zhao's expression was for her to see. "Brother Zhao," Jiang Zhao did not have much time to waste here. "Xia Qian, you'd better get someone to tow the car. Someone will come over immediately to revoke your license. Go back to school." "What right do you have?" Jiang Zhao stood by the car door and looked at Xia Qian. His eyes were cold as he said, "Aha, you don't have to go back to school. I've already asked the driver to take a picture of the location of the collision. I'd like to see if Qiu Xiaoye dares to come out and compensate you." Xia Qian saw that Jiang Zhao was about to get into the car and chased after him. "Hey, don't be like this. Let's not talk about the license first. I'll take Yi Er to the hospital. Don't meddle in her business. From now on." Jiang Zhao said in a deep voice, "If you dare to ask Yi Er to sit in your car again, Xia Qian, I'll make sure you never get a driver's license for the rest of your life. Try me if you don't believe me." Jiang Zhao got into the car and closed the door. Qin Fian got into the front seat and closed the door as well. Yi Er had been beaten up and felt very wronged. She shrank into the other corner of the car door and bit her lip. She looked out the window and the blood on her forehead lessened. She didn't want to see Jiang Zhao, that tyrant. Jiang Zhao told the driver the address of the private hospital and asked if there was a first aid kit in the car. The driver took out a first aid kit from the front drawer. It was not as complete as the one at home, but it had alcohol, sterile cotton, and gauze. Qin Fian turned to look at Yi Er and asked kindly, "Sister-in-law, are you dizzy?" "Don't call me sister-in-law. Shut up." Yi Er and Jiang Zhao's voices were not soft. Qin Fian saw that the two of them were mocking him at the same time and sighed. His eyes flashed innocently. "God, I can't afford to offend you. You're too fierce." Yi Er continued to look out the window. Jiang Zhao was so angry that he didn't even have the energy to scold her. If he hadn't seen the small wound on her forehead when he pulled her away, he would have torn Xia Qian apart. He dabbed the sterile cotton with alcohol. "Come here." The woman tilted her head even more and ignored him. She had had enough. He actually hit her. She liked him so much and thought about him all the time. He actually hit her. They hadn't even lost and she couldn't stand it anymore. "I told you to come here." He reached out and grabbed the stubborn woman's chin. Just as he was about to pull her towards him, he realized that the woman was glaring at him fiercely. The whites of her eyes were red and watery, but there were no tears. She was biting her lips tightly and trembling a little. Even the tip of her nose was trembling slightly. "Disinfect your wound first before going to the hospital." Although his voice was still cold, it was obviously lower. Yi Er released her lips that she had been biting, but then she bit her lower lip with her upper teeth. She reached out and pushed away the cotton ball that Jiang Zhao was about to put on her face. It's none of your business. If I don't care about you, who will? Looking at his wife's pitiful face covered in blood, he couldn't help but get angry. Although the injury wasn't serious. What if it was serious? A powerful novel. Songshu 566. Chapter 550. Xiaqian cares about you? I told you not to play with her. Did you listen to me? Look at her. She doesn't have a proper temperament. She's crazy. Are you sure you want to play with her? Did you even listen to me? Did you get yourself into this state? Or am I wrong? You're right, you're all right, okay? Anyway, you have the final say. Did you ask for my opinion? Can't I have any of my own wishes? His nose was suddenly so sour that he couldn't control it. Salty streams rushed out of his eyes. His nose twitched as he inhaled. Yi Er's voice was so loud that she couldn't calm down. The driver in front didn't dare to show the slightest bit of curiosity. Qin Fian pretended to look at the scenery outside the window. Jiang Zhao, can you be a little more fair? What didn't I listen to you? Other than the marriage, I was wrong and despicable. Tell me, what didn't I listen to you? She rubbed the back of her hand on her face, and her face was smudged again. Jiang Zhao knew that at this time if he couldn't hold back his anger, he would have to argue. Okay, treat the wound first. Let's not talk about it. Yi Er still refused to let Jiang Zhao touch her forehead. She pushed his hand away and cried as she complained. Why don't you say it? Jiang Zhao, think about it yourself. Is there anything that I haven't done well? Is there anything I'm not sensible about? You want me to be dignified and reserved, elegant and generous when I go out. I've been married to you for so long, but I haven't even worn bright green or dazzling red. I tried my best to please you. Every pair of your leather shoes was wiped by me. Did I ask someone else to do it? When we cooked at home, didn't you have the most favorite dishes on the table? When you went out to socialize, no matter how late it was, when wasn't I waiting for you at the door? How many times have you fallen asleep on the floor next to the sofa after drinking too much? Which time haven't I dragged you upstairs? Tell me I'm your wife. Even if I forced you to get married, it's my fault. I shouldn't have fought with Ouyang Yan for the position of Mrs. Jiang. I'll try my best to make up for it, right? Have I ever interfered between you and her? Didn't I ignore it all along? What else do you want? Qin Fian's chest was full of air, and he slowly exhaled. He didn't want to disturb the couple's quarrel. As Jiang Zhao listened to Yi Er's words, his heart felt numb and uncomfortable. How could he not know that Yi Er had done all this for him? That was why he always thought that she was pretty good and always tried to treat her better. But when she mentioned making amends for his mistakes, his expression changed. He hated it when she brought up Ouyang Yan. She didn't care? If she didn't care, would she have the right to say it in front of others? She also wanted to tell everyone that she was Jiang Zhao's wife, and didn't care if he had other women outside. Who wasn't at the age of 19? Who wasn't colorful and pure at the age of love? Even if she was precocious, she should be at the age where she had feelings for love. If her lover was unfaithful, how could she not fly into a rage? However, she had to act like an older woman who was indifferent to her husband's affair. This was clearly telling others that she didn't care about him at all. Not at all. She was telling others that she didn't have any feelings for him at all. Are you done? No. It was rare for Yi Er to vent. If she didn't say it out loud, she would feel uncomfortable. She sniffled and sniffled, but still wanted to finish her sentence in one go. I'm so obedient to you. Can't you make me feel a little better? Do I have friends? After Dad's accident, which classmate in the elite school wasn't afraid that I would cause trouble for their family? They couldn't wait to stay as far away as possible. Even my fiancé broke off the engagement. Only Zhengling was good to me. But Mother Zheng was also afraid that I would go to Zhengling. I didn't even have a friend who wanted to chat with me. It wasn't easy for me to meet Sister Xiaoya and Xiaqian. At that time, they knew about my family and didn't even know about your existence. But they didn't hide from me and were willing to be my friends. I only have these few friends now, and you still don't allow me to play with them. Are you trying to make me suffer from depression? It's best if I get depression and commit suicide. Then you'll be widowed and won't have to get a divorce. You can marry Ouyangyan openly and no one will say anything bad about you. In the face of Yi Er's tearful cries, Jiang Zhao's eyes were cold. Slowly, there was a hint of warmth. Ignoring her resistance, he grabbed her chin and wiped the blood off her face with a wet disinfectant cotton ball. One by one, the blood-red cotton balls faded, and he threw them into the trash bag. He knew the reason for his bad attitude. First, she didn't listen to him and continued to play with that perverted Xia Qian. Second, she lied to him again when she sent him a text message. Third, her face was covered in blood when he was about to confront her. Fourth, she refused to get out of the car even when her face was covered in blood. She dared to sit in the car of a driver who couldn't even drive straight. She even dared to complain, resist, and say that she didn't want to live with him. He was troubled by too many things, and the one thing he shouldn't be troubled by was the fact that she didn't love him. He married her because he wanted to protect her. So many people bullied her and could have killed her. Her mother didn't want her, her father was in jail, and her brother wanted her to work the night shift at a nightclub. No matter where she went, she had to live under someone else's roof. At least for a girl like her who didn't have any education or work experience, it was impossible for her to find a high-paying job. He pushed her away and she had nowhere to go. He knew that she used him. It was an established fact. He knew that she didn't love him. It was also an established fact. He was too anxious. When she mentioned Ouyangyan just now, he was troubled. After being troubled, he forgot his original intention. He didn't care about whether she loved him or not, but now he had to force her. He didn't even allow her to say anything outside. He even wanted to deceive himself. Love was a meaningless thing. Those young people who started a relationship in their teens would say things like, "I love you, do you love me? Or we'll be together forever." He was past that age. Even if he wasn't, he couldn't say those words. He felt terrible. After Yi Er said those words, he was afraid that his voice would tremble. He wanted to calm down. He didn't look into her eyes. Her eyes were filled with tears, and the tears washed away the bloodstains on her face. After her face was clean, she still pouted and glared at him. Before they got married, he had never seen her cry. She didn't cry in front of him. There were times when he accidentally saw it. She knew that she didn't have to endure it after getting married. He took a piece of tissue paper from the back seat of the car. He didn't take it seriously. He just crumpled it into a ball and rubbed it on her face. There was a lazy teasing tone in his voice. "Well, it's good that you know. Live well. Otherwise, you can't even blame me. After you die, do you expect me to take care of your father and brother? Why should I? Do you think that I, Jiang Zhao, am a reincarnation of God? Besides, like you said, after you die, I can marry someone else openly. My new wife definitely won't agree to me taking care of my deceased wife's family. At most, she'll give them some money. Taking care of my deceased wife's family is such an ideal situation. It definitely won't appear in my life. You know that I'm not that kind." Qin Fian was playing with his phone. At this moment, he took out his earphones and plugged them in. He leaned his head back on the pillow and listened to music. Yi Er gritted her teeth as she listened to Jiang Zhao. Great, he was looking forward to her getting married. She didn't want to. She wanted to live a colorful life. Dream on. I won't let you have such a good time." The corners of the man's mouth lifted slightly. It was a sinister smile. The tears on her face were wiped clean. So cooperate. When they arrived at the hospital, Jiang Zhao didn't allow Qin Fian and the driver to follow him. Qin Fian stayed in the car obediently. It seemed like there was no chance for him to look at the plot of land in 326. There was no chance at all. Forget it. Family was more important. Jiang Zhao pulled Yi Er upstairs and treated her wound carefully again. The doctor said, although the injury isn't serious, the surface of the wound is damaged to the dermis. There will probably be a scar. When Yi Er heard that there would be a scar, she stood up from the stool. "No, there's some kind of inseam now. You can't see the wound, right?" The doctor said, "But your wound isn't neat. We can't sew it like that. It's just a little bit. It's okay. You have bangs, so it's okay. Besides, it'll only be a little white and fainter after it's healed. No. Yi Er stomped her feet anxiously. When Jiang Zhao was with her, apart from doing things in a straightforward manner, he also liked to reach out and wipe her forehead. He would brush away the loose hair on her forehead, and say that her forehead was full and beautiful. In the morning, she knew that Jiang Zhao was very gentlemanly, and liked to give her a good morning kiss on her forehead. Just a little. Do you have to go that far? Jiang Zhao snorted. That's why I say that you girls nowadays are so superficial. After all the fooling around, the doctor said that it wouldn't be obvious. Who's the one who keeps looking to see if there's a small scar on your forehead, and one that's small and faint at that? You. Weren't you the one who wanted to see it? What a disgrace. Now you don't want to see it anymore? No one wants to see it anymore? Yi Er knew that a woman would doll herself up for the man who loves her. Jiang Zhao knew that it really didn't matter. After the X-ray was taken, the waiting time was slightly longer. Even if she got in through the back door, she would only have to wait a little shorter than others. Yi Er lay on the special lounge, which was even more comfortable than the sofa in the hotel suite. I already said that there's no need to take the X-ray. Jiang Zhao stood in the corner of the bookshelf and picked something to pass the time. I'm afraid that you'll hurt your head. Yi Er huffed. I didn't. Jiang Zhao happened to pick up a magazine and walk towards her. Yes, you didn't hurt your head because your brain has never been working well. Who knows, maybe after this accident, you'll turn from an idiot to a smart person. Jiang Zhao. Yi Er panicked again. She was angered by him again. Couldn't this man have at least one good point about her? What part of my brain is not working well? When has my brain been not working well? Jiang Zhao sat down on the single-seater massage sofa beside Yi Er, and pressed the switch on the armrest. After adjusting the pressure, his calves and back, which were more tired, slowly relaxed. He flipped open the magazine, and saw that the first page was a car advertisement. He ignored the perfect streamlined car in the advertisement and saw the slogan, Preventive Active Safety System. It would have been better if he hadn't seen it. The moment he saw it, his mind was filled with images of her bleeding head. His dry and warm palms started to sweat. His voice was not loud, but it was a reprimand. If your brain is working well, why would you sit in that idiot Xiaqian's car? Yi Er sat up. You're doing it again. Awesome novel. Hongchai 866. Chapter 551. Great, she's starting to resist again. He wasn't talking about whether or not he wanted to be friends with Xiaqian. He was talking about the car issue. She couldn't talk about that either. Yeah, I have to remind you that you can't just sit in a woman's car. Besides, don't you know that she didn't have a car before? You clearly know that she just bought a car. How dare you get in? Don't we have a car? If you don't like the car in the garage, you can buy another one. Do you think I'm short of money? Even if it's too late to buy another one, didn't I give you the money for a taxi? Get in and get out. Jiang Zhao you. As soon as Yi Er mentioned the car ride, she was reminded of how he had dragged her out of the car and slapped her twice. She didn't know if she would dare to lie down like this the next day after she woke up. He even scolded her. Why do you dislike me so much? Why are you talking about me not liking you again? Isn't this your fault? If you're wrong, you have to change. You still haven't admitted your mistake. You still say that you don't like me. You're fierce to me and you even hit me. Yi Er turned to look at Jiang Zhao pitifully. Jiang Zhao was frustrated. He wasn't frustrated because Yi Er didn't repent. He was frustrated because she used this tactic every time. She kept saying that Xiaqian was like cement. When she ran to the Qin palace to threaten him, when she bickered with him at the nightclub, when she drank the vodka that she couldn't drink, when she took off her high heels to chase after robbers, wasn't she also like cement? But the speed at which she changed her expression was just like now. She was still shouting fiercely, "You're doing it again." Now a pair of black, watery rabbit eyes appeared. "You still hit me." Her voice was loud, but her tone was completely different. "I hit you because you didn't listen to me." Jiang Zhao didn't think he hit the wrong person. She was bleeding and didn't need to go to the hospital. What was she trying to do? She even hid in the car and wanted to be friends with Xiaqian. She wanted to go out to play. This little liar. But you hit me in front of so many people. You made me lose face. Ah. Sob, sob, sob. I'm so embarrassed. My butt hurts so much. Ah, sob, sob, sob. Yi burst into tears the moment she started crying. Under normal circumstances, she would endure it. For example, in front of Ouyang, she could endure it and had to endure it. Now that only Jiang Zhao was here, she didn't believe that anyone would laugh at her. Anyway, she had already embarrassed herself today. There was also another mentality. It was just like when she was reprimanded by her father when she was young. If his tone was a little harsh and made her sad, cry, or go on a hunger strike, her father would definitely apologize to her. When Jiang Zhao saw Yi raise his head and yell that his butt hurt, he remembered that he was so angry that he hit him a little too hard. But at that time, his mood was just like when he was a child and fell from a tree. His father was worried that he would get hurt, but when he saw that he was fine, he picked him up and hit him on the butt. He even scolded. How many times have I told you not to climb so high? Won't you die from the fall? Do you still dare to go next time? Do you still dare to go? After scolding him, he gave him another slap on the butt. She was crying so hard. How painful must it be? Come. Let me take a look. Let me take a look. Throwing away the magazine in his hand, he strode over to Yi side with his long legs. Before Yi could react, the man had already unbuttoned her pants and pulled down the zipper. With a strong hand he picked up the woman and flipped her over. His fingers stuck into the waist of her pants and pulled it down. Her butt was exposed. Ah! What are you doing? Yi screamed again. Dong Xuebing was so fast. He actually took off her pants. Seeing the red finger marks on Yi's snow-white buttocks, Jiang Zhao's heart ached. He squatted down and blew at her buttocks. Honey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Let me blow at it for you. I'll take some medicine and apply it to you later. The nurse outside heard the patient shouting in the resting room and ran over. She was worried that the patient was in a critical condition. She pushed the door open and saw the mayor kissing his wife's butt. Dong Xuebing must have just kissed her, and he is going to kiss her again. Nurse Miss was confused. The door was already open. What should she do? Should she leave? Or should she leave? Or should she leave immediately? Just when she was hesitating on how to end her life, the mayor spoke. Get out. The nurse knew that the mayor's angry face and fierce eyes meant that he wanted to say, get lost. But he was worried about his public image. So he decided to write it down and get lost immediately. Jiang Zhao was furious. His wife's butt was seen by someone, and he did not want anyone else to see it. That's why he said he was going to get some ointment for her, but in the end, someone came in and saw her butt. Dong Xuebing left Yi's butt on the sofa and stood up. He walked to the double doors and locked them. Yi laid on the sofa. She wanted to get up, but Jiang Zhao pressed her down and made her continue to lie on the sofa. He said guiltily, just lie on the sofa. You can't even lie down or sit down. Ah, my butt is damaged. Yi stretched out her hand to touch her butt. What does he mean by damaged? Jiang Zhao grabbed Yi's hand, but his own hand was gently stroking Yi's butt. He was very melancholic. Oh no, I definitely can't use it tonight. After a long time, it would definitely swell. Why did he hit her so hard back then? His hands were too cheap. She will not be able to sit down when she goes back. Could it be that he was a violent person? That's impossible. Dong Xuebing felt that he was a gentleman. A gentleman wearing a lion's skin is still a gentleman. Jiang Zhao. Yi pushed Jiang Zhao's hand away and pulled up her pants. You bastard. Is my butt really that useless? Is my butt only useful in your eyes? As long as he was with her, his mind would be filled with those censored images. But now that she was injured, she actually still wanted to use her, but at night. This was considered as having tender feelings for the fairer sex. His heart ached for her butt. No matter if it was in the front or back position, it would cause discomfort. So, was he prepared to let her go tonight? Jiang Zhao did not understand Yi's thoughts. Then what else do you want your butt to be used for? My butt can still be sat down. Done. Jiang Zhao smiled mischievously. That's right. Other than sitting, her butt could still be done. Why didn't he think of that at that time? He originally thought that she would not be able to sit down properly tonight, but she still wanted to do it. Little pervert. Xiaqian and the others probably did not lead her astray. When it was just the two of them, she would even find that kind of game on the internet to play. See the game in the group. The two sent her meat that day. It was normal for her to have such thoughts now. Yes, yes, yes. Do it, do it. If you feel that your butt is better and there's no problem, then we can talk about doing it. I don't want you to complain that your butt hurts while doing it. Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao's cheap smile, and was so angry that she stuck out her chest and promised. I won't complain that my butt hurts while sitting. If my butt can't even be used for sitting, then I'm not Yin Yi. Jiang Zhao really had to hand it to her. This little girl was getting more and more mature recently. When she said do it, she said it so confidently and boldly. She was really very likable. Even with her butt in this state, she was still thinking about the great career between husband and wife. It was rare. Yi Er pulled up her pants and stood up. She did not want to lie down anymore. At this time, she did not want to sit down. The wound on her head did not need to be stitched. She cleaned it up and applied some medicine. The doctor said that there was no need to stick anything on it. It would be better in a few days. Yi Er tidied up her hair and covered it. It was not obvious at all. It was fine as long as her father did not find out. After getting the X-ray, the doctor said that she was fine and her brain was not injured. Jiang Zhao heaved a sigh of relief. As long as her brain was not injured, he could let Xiaqian go and let her retake her driver's license. As long as she did not seduce Yi Er to get in her car, he would not cause trouble for her. Back in the car, Yi's buttocks really hurt at this time. The places that should be swollen and the places that should be red and purple all stood up. Sitting in the back of Qin Fian's car, she was quite uncomfortable. She leaned sideways and only used a little of her buttocks to touch the seat. Jiang Zhao saw that Yi Er was very uncomfortable sitting there. He originally wanted to bring her to Qin Fian to look at the plot of land, but now he thought better of it. He wanted her to go home and lie down. It was better for her to go to school directly. Anyway, it was a cram school. There was no need to be too formal. He had checked her previous grades. 80 marks was not bad. She often failed math. Even if the Yun family did not decline in the past, she would not be able to go to a first-tier university unless she donated a building to the school and saw if they would accept a special place. He could not do something so ostentatious. He wanted her to take the exams herself. He could help her make up for it. Science and engineering was out of the question. Arts had lower marks and was much easier. However, it was not very useful. It was better to learn management or political economy. Not to mention that the marks were not too high. These things were practical. After all, in China's environment, economic development was mostly linked to politics. If she learned these things, she could go to the company if she wanted to. If she did not want to go, he could get a job as a civil servant. It was very stable. Fian, let's go take a look the day after tomorrow. I have a few meetings tomorrow and can't leave. Let's go have dinner today and then send me back to 9th Mansion. Qin Fian was not surprised that Jiang Zhao would say this. Okay, Fian, don't tell Grandpa about what happened today. The last time we stayed in the hospital, it was your big mouth that spread the news. Brother, you wronged me. That day, it was not my big mouth at all. It was Grandpa who asked you and sister-in-law to go back for a night. That was why I said that you had to stay in the hospital and did not have time to go back. Qin Fian's innocence did not get any sympathy from Jiang Zhao. Instead, he looked like he was saying, I will never believe you again. Back at 9th Mansion, Jiang Zhao pulled Yi Er. When they were about to enter the door, he coughed. Honey, does your butt hurt so much that it's hard to walk? Yeah. Then when Dad comes over later, can you bear with it? Jiang Zhao. Yi Er tilted her head and glared at Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao thought to himself, Honey, I'm so pitiful now, so pitiful. When Dad sees that you're injured and asks about it, and you tell him the truth, I'm done for. Dad won't care if you hit your head first. He will definitely blame me for hitting your butt. Later he will say something like, you're not suitable for each other. Divorce. How can I afford to be hurt? He coughed again and put his arm around her waist. he said stubbornly. If Dad finds out, I'll go on a business trip for a month. Yi Er spat blood. I can't afford to be hurt. I can't afford to be hurt. This bastard. Attention. Xinwu 799. Chapter 552. If you want to go on a business trip, so be it. You are the one who slapped me. Can't you find someone to stand up for me? Jiang Zhao saw Yi Er was serious. She was afraid that he would go on a business trip. Logically speaking, after sending her home at this time, she should go back to work in the building. However, he was very worried about her but, firstly, he had to apply medicine for her. Secondly, he was afraid that she would accidentally cry in front of his father-in-law because she was still young. After all, it was very painful outside. Honey, how about this? Behave well and don't let Dad find out. After we go upstairs, I'll apply medicine for you. Then, I'll let you spank my butt. Do you think it is worth it? What? Yi Er felt it was unbelievable. Jiang Zhao had made such a request? Last time, she knew Dong Xuebing's reaction when her father wanted them to get a divorce. Dong Xuebing will not get a divorce like this. It will be bad if other people know about it. Which deputy mayor got a divorce after getting married? You didn't hear me clearly? What I mean is, you just don't let Dad find out that I had slapped your butt. When we go back, you will slap my butt back. Do you think it is enough? Yi Er smiled. The more she smiled, the happier she became. Her eyes were curved from smiling. She couldn't hold it in any longer. She put her hand to her mouth, and then simply covered her mouth and laughed. Fine, fine, fine. For this, I will bear with it. I will stick to it until the end. When both of them were discussing, the door opened. It was Yin Hongwei. He had nothing to do today, and he was different from the other prisoners. There were many people watching him, and he could only stay at home and read the newspapers. When he heard Yi Er and Jiang Zhao's voice, he opened the door. Why are you both back so early? Have you had lunch? Yes, Dad. Yi Er smiled happily. All right, it's good that you've eaten. Why is Jiang Zhao back? Dad, I bumped into Yi Er on the way back, so I sent her home. It is lunch break now, and I will take a nap before returning to the building. Jiang Zhao said as he entered the house with Yi Er, and started to change his shoes. The two of them chatted and laughed as they went upstairs. Yin Hongwei looked at the young couple, and felt quite gratified. Jiang Zhao treated Yi Er quite well. In the beginning, when Yi Er told him that Jiang Zhao treated her well, he did not believe her. Now he believed her. The couple was in the room. Yi Er had changed into a dress, and was lying on the bed. Her panties were tucked under her legs. Jiang Zhao carefully cleaned her up and applied medicine. The medicine was cold with a hint of cool mint. After applying the ointment, Jiang Zhao asked Yi Er to put his butt on the bed and not wear pants. I'm not sleeping. What are you doing instead of sleeping? It's best to take a nap at noon. People say that if you have a nap at noon, you won't have to worry about work. No, I'm not going to sleep now. If I sleep, I'll be annoyed. As she spoke, she propped herself up. She would be very annoyed if she didn't take revenge. I have to hit you first so that I won't be annoyed. Honey, let's talk about it when you're better. Jiang Zhao supported Yi Er. What did you say just now? You said that as long as you deceive Dad, you'll let me hit your butt. No, I must hit you back. I didn't say that I won't let you hit me back. But think about it. Your butt is useless now. It's not flexible. If you hit me hard, won't it be taxing on your body? What if she hit him very hard? He still had to go to work and couldn't move. Even if he wanted to hit her, he had to wait for the weekend to recuperate at home. Jiang Zhao thought in a manly manner. He did not want to deny it. Who said that? Who said that? I already said that my butt is not only useful for that. My butt can still sit. It can still sit. If you don't believe me, I'll sit for you right now. Honey, honey, good honey. As long as you don't hit me now, I'll do it. I promise you everything. Yi Er pushed Jiang Zhao away and walked to the dressing table. I'll sit. She sat on the dressing table. Her butt felt like it was being trampled by 10,000 grass mud horses. Her butt was trembling from the horses' hooves. It hurt so much. Ah. Yi Er stood up. She sat too hard and her face turned pale from the pain. Jiang Zhao saw this and knew that it was over. He misunderstood. But he was unwilling to admit it. See, I told you that you can't sit. Your butt is broken. You still don't believe me. You can sit for another one. What did you say? What? I said that your butt is broken and you can't even sit, but you insisted on sitting. Now you can't even lie down. Yi Er was ashamed. So he did not do what he said? How embarrassing. It's all because of you. All right. I'll let you hit me back. Pi. Ah, it hurts. The person who screamed was not Jiang Zhao, but Yi Er. She shook her reddened palm and said sadly, "Oh my God, is your butt made of metal? Why are you so tight?" I'm used to it. Whenever I feel danger, I'm used to tightening my muscles. Honey, I'll come back at night to help you apply medicine. I'm going to work now. Sleep well. Jiang Zhao, your butt is too hard. I'm at a disadvantage. I don't want to hit you with my hands anymore. I want to change my weapon. Jiang Zhao fled the scene. It was not that he did not love his wife, but he did not know how to coax her anymore. She had hit him, it was swollen, and it hurt. Now that she had hit him back, she wanted to blame his butt for the pain. If this continued, he would not be able to go to work. Jiang Zhao had just reached the government building when he received a call from Qin Fian. Brother, did you see the news just now? No, I didn't have time. What's the matter? Jiang Zhao walked out of the elevator and went to his office. The land at 326 can't be bought anymore. It's said that the mercury level is too high. It's only suitable for a landfill. Is it a statement from the government? Yes. Then do you still want to go there? When Jiang Zhao called, he did not mention the keywords or the land. In this circle, there were always ears. It was difficult to find someone to trust. No, so I won't look at it. This matter is over. Qin Fian seemed very happy. Fortunately, the news came out at the right time. Otherwise, Grandpa would scold me again if I bought a piece of land for a landfill. Okay, anyway, it's your own business. You can make your own decision. If you don't cause trouble, it'll save me a lot of trouble. Jiang Zhao hung up the phone and saw Lu Qing standing at the door waiting for him. The corners of his mouth turned down, and he shrugged. If Lu Qing could make such a humorous gesture, then the main character who would give him a headache must have come. Sung Tingting. Jiang Zhao gently clenched one hand into a fist and supported it on his waist. The other hand touched his forehead. He was really a little disheartened. Then with a huff, he let out a long breath. When he pushed open the door and stepped into the office, Jiang Zhao stood tall and straight with an outstanding aura. Good afternoon, Tingting. Brother Zhao, I've been waiting for you for so long. Where are you going? You have to drink all the soup I made. Sung Tingting was playing the role of a good wife and mother today. The last time she went to the Qin family, old Master Qin kept saying that Jiang Zhao was afraid of gaining weight because Yi Er's cooking was too good. He didn't want to eat out every day and had to eat at home. What was so great about cooking? She could also learn. I'm going home to take an afternoon nap with your sister-in-law. Jiang Zhao directly walked around the thermos on the table and said something more important. He knew that every time Sung Tingting came, Lu Qing would very cooperatively follow her in. Today was no exception. When Lu Qing heard Jiang Zhao say this, he couldn't help but puffed and looked at Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao gave him a warning glare. What? There's an afternoon nap time in the building. You can also go home and sleep with your girlfriend. He knew that he had never joked with Jiang Zhao like this before. It must be a requirement of the plot. Lu Qing thickened his skin and said, Zheng Ling is more busy. There's no such thing as an afternoon nap. He can only rest when the guests leave. Ha, are you saying that it's too easy in the building? At this time, Jiang Zhao was a little bored. He sat on the sofa and glanced at Lu Qing, then turned to look at Sung Tingting. Tingting, tell me, is that what Lu Qing means? Should I let him work overtime until he can't sleep at night? Sung Tingting was obviously unhappy. She snorted. What does it have to do with me whether he can sleep at night or not? Tingting, I'm not criticizing you, but you can find something to do after you graduate. For example, you can take the civil service exam or learn how to do business from your mother. You're so idle all day. Aren't you afraid that people will say that rich people's daughters are useless? Isn't your wife unemployed too? I went to university, after all. I'm better than her, right? Your sister-in-law has a lot of things to do all day long. When do you think she has time to come to the building to look for me? Sung Tingting said disdainfully. What is she busy with? She might as well do the housework and the nanny's chores. We have servants to cook and wash clothes. When the time comes, her hands will be rough and rough. Occasionally, when she's in a good mood, she will do it. That's fun. Jiang Zhao's patience to joke suddenly disappeared. His face darkened. Tingting, you've gone overboard. Sung Tingting said unrepentantly, when have I? Lu Cheng, you go out first. I have something to call you. This was the first time Jiang Zhao took the initiative to ask Lu Cheng to leave after Sung Tingting came. Lu Cheng left tactfully. Call me if you need anything. His face hurt. Okay, I know. Seeing Lu Cheng close the door, Jiang Zhao lit a cigarette. Tingting, you shouldn't judge what your sister-in-law does. How am I judging? I'm telling the truth. Isn't she just a nanny? Her family is ruined, and she has such a low education level. Isn't all she can do to make men happy? Why would you fall for a cook? The corner of Jiang Zhao's mouth twitched. He reached out and put out the cigarette in the ashtray. When he put out the cigarette, he used a lot of force. The yezi that didn't turn gray was all over the ashtray. No one would be able to stand others criticizing their wife like this. However, this person was Sung Tingting, the daughter of the provincial party secretary. He had to tolerate it. His voice was low and sullen. Tingting, tell me then. What's so good about me in your eyes? Why are you so clingy? Sung Tingting was smug. You're handsome, have a good figure, have a good family background, have a few degrees and have no scandals. You won't fool around with other women outside. Although you ignore me sometimes, I think you're very gentlemanly. Jiang Zhao sneered. How do you know that I won't fool around outside? Sung Tingting looked at Jiang Zhao's expression and was unsure. However, she was firm in her thoughts. I'm talking about sleeping with other women. You won't do that. Jiang Zhao's smile widened. How many politicians have you seen fooling around outside? Do you know if they fooled around outside? Did she think that Jiang Zhao was still a virgin after living for almost 30 years? Childish. I don't believe you. You don't see things that you haven't seen. Tingting, I think you're naive. You can see my good points, and others can see them too. But can you see my ugly side? You think I'm a gentleman, but how can you be so sure that I'm not a beast? Anyway, I don't believe you. Come and see. Hongchai 866. Chapter 553. Tingting, do you really want to leave your father's protection and see how many dirty things there are in this world? When you see a person's good appearance, you think he's good from the inside out. When one day, his unbearable side appears in front of you, how do you accept it? Gentlemen? In today's high society, how many were real gentlemen? Wearing the guise of a gentleman to gain sponsorship, gain popularity, and fight for status. Being a gentleman in front of a woman was just to get her into bed. Gentlemen? He hadn't seen many of them. Fei Yan wouldn't find a woman outside, but was he a gentleman? Wasn't he a beast in human clothing and a fake gentleman? Oh, then did Yin Yi, or see the bad side of you? She accepted it? That's right. Unfortunately, she discovered my darkest side. For example, he was actually not a gentleman. He was a hypocrite. He was selfish, vengeful, sinister, and cunning. There were many sides to him that others did not know, but she knew them all. Since he was young, he pretended to be a harmless child. When he grew up, he pretended to be very elegant and magnanimous. What? You're afraid that she'll tell others about your dark side, so you married her like this? Tingting, that's between us. You're so young and have such a good family background. Are you afraid that you won't be able to get married? Jiang Zhao's tone became heavier towards the end. Sung Tingting evaded and pushed the thermos on the table in front of Jiang Zhao. Drink this. I cooked it. Your sister-in-law makes me drink a lot of soup every day. I can't drink anymore. I'm still full now. Jiang Zhao pushed the thermos back. Sung Tingting was a so-called lady from a prestigious family. Jiang Zhao didn't believe that she didn't understand what he was saying. For example, Sung Tingting, who obviously didn't have a gentle and virtuous temperament and still drank and got high in the disco bar, but in front of her uncle and elders, she would put away her perverse personality and hold on to Zheng Weiguo's arm. She would try her best to restrain her smile, and even her voice was much lower than usual. Not all the children of wealthy families were as well behaved as Fei Yu. At least until now, among the second and third generations of Haicheng's wealthy families, there wasn't a single one with Fei Yu's personality that didn't stir up trouble. After Sung Tingting was rejected, and the performance was over, her true nature was revealed again. Her tone of voice did not match her formal dress at all. Jiang Zhao, I won't despise you for your second marriage. Second marriage? Jiang Zhao laughed. When did I get married for the second time? How long have I been married? You haven't even had time to go on your honeymoon yet. Where did you get the answer to your second marriage? What I'm saying is that I won't mind if you divorce Yunyi, I can still marry you even if you divorce her. Jiang Zhao let out a long sigh. He smacked his lips and placed his hands on his knees. Then, as if he was using all his strength, he let out another sigh and stood up. He turned around and walked to the window, looking out with all his might. Sung Tingting did not understand. She suspected that there was an unknown object outside. Jiang Zhao, what are you doing? I'm checking to see if it's daytime or nighttime. Jiang Zhao said very seriously. It's daytime. It's so bright. Do you have to go over there to look? Jiang Zhao turned around and leaned against the window. He thought it was a little funny. Ha, so you know it's daytime. Yeah, can't you tell? Sung Tingting rolled her eyes at Jiang Zhao and scolded him in her heart. He was crazy. Jiang Zhao thought to himself. Look. He even said that his wife was not good at this and that. At least his wife was better than Sung Tingting in one aspect. No matter how stupid she was smarter than Sung Tingting. If his wife heard him say something like that, her first reaction would be to know that he was being sarcastic. She would definitely jump up or scream. Jiang Zhao, you bastard. You actually said I was daydreaming. Or she would act cute and snuggle into his arms. Hubby, how can you say that about your cute wife? Or she would immediately turn into a black rabbit and look at him with watery eyes. She sniffled and said, Hubby, you despise me. You despise me again. Sigh, the gap between them was not just a little. Jiang Zhao, you and Yunyi are not compatible at all. My education level is higher than Yunye's, and my family background is better too. We will have more common topics to talk about. Jiang Zhao's tone was light, but his words were disdainful. Oh, what can I talk to you about? The development requirements of China's advanced productivity? The direction of China's advanced culture? The fundamental interests of China's most people? Do you want to talk to me? Sung Tingting was confused and swallowed her saliva. I don't want to talk about those political things. What's there to talk about? I'm not interested. Oh, then let me talk to you about why China wants to maintain the stability of its currency. What's the motive for America to put pressure on China's currency? How can China not repeat Japan's mistakes under such pressure? Is the importance of currency stability to imports and exports? Sung Tingting frowned again. It's not like I don't know what you're talking about, but I didn't study economics in university. I'm not interested in these things, and I don't want to talk to you in depth. The reason was clear on the surface, but it was impossible to talk about it in depth. Oh, then let me talk to you about city construction, city planning, investment promotion, how to smoothly transition Haicheng's industries to the border counties, how to successfully transition Haicheng from an industrial city to a tourist city. You want to talk to me? Sung Tingting couldn't bear to listen to such boring things. Who wanted to talk about such things? Oh, then tell me, what do you and I have in common? Luxury goods? Private customization? Private jets? Which celebrity is the most handsome? What kind of beauty products are eaten? Secrets of the rich? Or which nightclub is the best? The best disc beater? Sung Tingting clapped her hands happily. Brother Zhao, you're so nice. We can talk about these things. But... Jiang Zhao paused awkwardly, then shrugged and smiled. I'm not interested in these things. I've never been interested in such things. Seng Tingting was petrified. Jiang Zhao, you're too much. Tingting, if I'm going too far, I'm already going too far when you said that your sister-in-law isn't good at everything. Jiang Zhao crossed his arms in front of his chest and raised his chin. I've been holding it in. If it were someone else, I would have thrown the thermos in front of you in your face. I'm still smiling and joking with you. And you're saying that I'm going too far? Oh, also, I have to explain to you about your sister-in-law's shortcomings and her family background. Jiang Zhao glanced at Seng Tingting's angry and resentful expression and walked to his desk. He was a little worried about his opponent. He sat back and crossed his legs like a big boss as he said to Seng Tingting, "You said it yourself. My family background is good, and I have several degrees. You're right, my family background is really good. It's so good that I don't find it challenging to do things." After saying that, he frowned in pain, but his eyes were full of pride. Look at me. I already have such a good family background. Why would I need to find a wife with a good family background? Now that your sister-in-law is here, I can experience what it's like to be a hero saving a damsel in distress, right? How challenging is that? Jiang Zhao laughed, but Seng Tingting gritted her teeth. Also, you said that I have several degrees. I've read so many books. If I find someone who has read as many books as I do and stay at home every day to study the three representatives, currency inflation, and the direction of the city's economy, how boring would my life be? Besides, if I talk about these things, would someone like you, who has a diploma like you, be willing to talk to me about these things? She's working very hard and will be even more outstanding in the future. She's still young and has a bright future ahead of her. You don't have to worry about us. You really shouldn't spend your time on me. Even if I had the slightest interest in you, I wouldn't have left you alone for so long. Think about it carefully. Things like divorce won't happen to me. Don't worry. Seng Tingting always left in a rage because of Jiang Zhao. This time, she left with red eyes. She kept thinking about what Jiang Zhao had said. Even if I had the slightest interest in you, I wouldn't have left you alone for so long. How could this man be so hateful? How could he say such hurtful words in such an ungentlemanly manner? Resident Shi Zhentian held a bunch of keys and stood outside the studio on the second floor. He really wanted to insert the keys into the keyhole to see what was inside. Actually, he didn't need to see to know that those things were Yunwu's treasures. Unwu had gone to the company to take care of things and wasn't home during the day. However, when it was the weekend, he would stay in the studio all day and not come out. When he came out, there wasn't much change. Unwu was still eating and sleeping. There wasn't much difference, but it was precisely because of this that he was worried. He wondered if he should harden his heart and burn everything in the room. If he burned everything, it would be a clean end. He had spoiled Unwu too much, but the Unwu now wasn't the Unwu of the past. The Unwu of the past had a weak heart and couldn't be stimulated in the slightest. He had to protect him. Unwu was his life. But now that Unwu had grown up and had gone to the hospital for multiple checkups, it was confirmed that there was no problem with his heart. He didn't need to protect him like that anymore. He had to let Unwu grow up and become a man who could take things up and let go. He couldn't be as weak as he was now. Unwu had accurate and fast marksmanship, a rational and calm mind, and had always been decisive in doing things. As long as he could overcome the hurdle of love, he would be favored by the heavens. Unwu couldn't make this decision. As his grandfather, he would make this decision for him. When the key was close to the keyhole, his hand trembled, and the bunch of keys jingled. Anan watched as Shi Zhentian went up to the second floor, and didn't come down for a long time. She wanted to see what was going on and saw this scene when she stood at the staircase. She slowly retreated, walked to the garden, and called Unwu. An's appearance was that of a cold beauty. She had always been cold and expressionless. When she spoke, she was also methodical. "Brother Yu, Grandpa is outside your art studio. He seems to want to open the door, but he looks very nervous." Unwu hung up the phone very quickly. Shi Zhentian was in the art studio. He pulled open the white canvas, and he couldn't bear to look at the faces under it. He didn't know what kind of charm Yunyi had that allowed her to have so many expressions under Yunwa's pen. Bright and beautiful smile, silent sadness, shyness when she lowered her eyebrows, and playfulness when she grinned. Yin-yi was the change of yin and yang. The sun was the curve of the four seasons. The Chinese parasol tree behind him was also the transition from death to life. It went from being bald in winter to being green in spring, lush in summer, and golden in autumn. Attention Hongcha 866. Chapter 554. He didn't know how long it had been since Yin-yi moved into Yunwa's heart, but he could tell that the paintings were neat and meticulous. A nude painting entered his eyes. Shi Jintian turned his face away and threw it on the ground forcefully. He didn't know what kind of relationship these two people had. He only knew that it would be better to destroy this house as soon as possible. Otherwise, his grandson would really be ruined. Although Shi Jintian was over 60 years old, he was still strong and healthy. The only thing that could make him sad was this grandson of his. He took down the drawing boards on the easel one by one. The ones that were mounted on the wall and dried on the bookshelf were all taken down and pushed together. At this time he had to go all out. He strode to the door of the studio and shouted, "Ague, come and move things. Burn it clean, burn it to ashes and use it as fertilizer for peanuts." Yunwa's car drove very fast, especially when he heard Anan say, "Grandpa asked the servants to move all the paintings in the studio to the open space in the back garden." The iron gate outside the house opened for Yunwa's car. The car didn't park in the parking lot in the front garden. Instead, it drove directly from the main villa to the back garden. Smoke was rising in spirals in front of the windshield. He slammed on the brakes, threw the car down, and rushed over without even closing the door. The young man was still the same young man, but he didn't have the stability that was disproportionate to his age. When he rushed into the fire recklessly, Shi Jintian's body swayed and he shouted, "Hold on to the young master." Perhaps the smoke was too strong. It was so strong that his eyes couldn't help but cry. There was a stinging pain in his palms and a charred smell on the back of his hands. However, when he saw the smiling faces slowly turn yellow, dark brown, and then ash, all the pain was gone. Only the most distinct feeling of tearing on his left chest was the clearest. "Grandpa," the young man punched Ague's face, then stretched out his leg to kick the servant who was trying to pull him back. He turned around and continued to save the things he cared about. His voice was no longer as clear as a spring. It was a sad cry. "Grandpa, what did I ask for?" His eyes were filled with misery and pain. His tears fell onto the painting that he had just snatched. He threw it on the ground before the flame was extinguished. He squatted on the ground and began to pat it with his bare hands. He had already made up his mind not to look for her again and let her live the life she wanted. What else could he do? He was already trying his best to let it go. What else could he do? His cries were filled with pain, and when he screamed, it was especially sorrowful. "Grandpa, what did I ask for? Why are you treating me like this? I didn't want anything. I only wanted these paintings. I didn't disturb her. I listened to you. I only wanted these paintings. Grandpa, why didn't you stab me with a knife? Why?" Shi Jintian had clearly made up his mind. He had clearly told himself that he had to be more ruthless towards Yunwu. He had spoiled him too much, which was why he was so stubborn when it came to matters of the heart. He was thinking that the blood flowing in his grandson's body shouldn't be so indecisive. He should have swung the knife and cut the Gordian knot. He was thinking that if he endured it a little longer, the child's hand would be in so much pain that he wouldn't dare to extend it into the fire anymore. When the pain was unbearable, he would stop. At that time he couldn't stop him. He would just let him suffer. When the pain was over, this hurdle would be over. At worst, he would take him overseas for skin grafting. However, he could watch his grandson get burned, watch his grandson bleed, watch him throw a tantrum at the servants, but he couldn't bear to see his grandson unable to endure the pain and turn into tears in front of him. How many times had it been? It was all because of that Yin-yi. Yunwa's temperament had always been pure and his appearance was quiet and beautiful. The clean shirts, t-shirts, and sweaters that he usually wore were all worn by him. Today he was wearing an expensive suit. The shirt inside was still a flawless white. The white exposed at the cuffs were already covered in black ash. He stood up in a mess and quickly took off his suit. Holding it in his hand, he forcefully patted the flames on the rescued painting. There was nothing more painful than watching one's beloved things disappear inch by inch. Every painting was his heart's blood. Every stroke was his emotions. How could it turn into ashes bit by bit? As he said, he didn't ask for anything. He didn't let anyone see the heart-wrenching pain of this process. He had once slowly told her his feelings at that window. He said that he liked those ancient poems. There probably wouldn't be such a sad Unwoo in this world. Even if he liked someone, he could only tell her that he liked those poems. For example, my heart pleases June, but June doesn't know. She definitely wouldn't think too much about it. Because he caught a glimpse of her gaze when Jiang Zhao came in. She was a widow. She had clearly eaten a box of fast food so quickly, but because of Jiang Zhao's unreasonable invitation, she was forced to eat another meal. That gaze wasn't forced, but joy. It was the joy and hope that only came when she could have a meal with her lover. He didn't want to enter her life again. It wasn't because he was so weak that he didn't dare to fight with Jiang Zhao, but because she needed Jiang Zhao to eat with her. That person wasn't him. It was painful to fulfill someone else's wish. It was the most painful to fulfill the happiness of one's beloved. He didn't tell anyone how he endured it. It was even more torturous than when he couldn't find her. Because at that time, there was still a little hope. He knew that after she got married, he was waiting for disappointment. When he gave up, it was the despair after the disappointment. He could clearly go to the Qin family for a meal like before, or get someone to check on Jiang Zhao's whereabouts. He could find her when she wasn't around, pretend to meet her by chance, and see how she was recently. But he thought that if he wanted to let go, he should let it go completely. More completely? It was just some nonsense to deceive himself. He gave up on the real person with a body temperature, but every day in the art room, he looked at the paintings and missed her. This was the root of the disaster. He knew that these paintings were the root of the disaster. He knew that the cloud was a disaster to him. She caused him to have difficulty breathing every night when he woke up from his deep sleep. And his heart ached like it was being twisted. She caused him to sit on the ground when he closed the door and saw those paintings. His heart and soul would be torn apart. She caused him to live in pain every day, but he still remembered her good. These paintings were the root of the disaster, but they were also hope. At least he could see them like this, caress them, and hug them to sleep. He wouldn't lose everything. Who would be able to understand such a feeling? If all these were gone, what would he do? It had been almost 2 years. He had never waited so long for anyone. On Wudong Street, those artists who loved art would still set up canopies to paint even if it was raining heavily. They said that the inspiration at that time would bring about unexpected gains. When it rained, he also went there to set up a canopy and set up an easel. When the rain fell like a pillar, it splashed high up, and the color of his pants that he always liked would be dirty. He would never forget that time when she ran over with an umbrella and wiped the mist from her face. "Oh my God, I just wanted to see if you came. I didn't expect you to really. Hey, it's raining so heavily. I made an appointment to come and get the paintings today. I'm sorry. I didn't wait for you to come and get the paintings. I still have to make money, so I'll be here every day." In fact, he had already told her that he would be there every day. There, waiting for her. As he waited, the paintings were gone. As he waited, even the paintings were gone. "Go and get some water." Shi Zhentian couldn't take it anymore. In the end, he didn't continue to harden his heart. He hardened his heart, but he couldn't block out Yunwa's grief from his ears. He couldn't stand Yunwa's painful crying as he put out the fire. He muttered to himself, repeatedly asking himself, "What should I do? What should I do? The paintings are gone. What should I do? No. It'll all be ruined if I splash water on it. No." In the end, Shi Zhentian could only compromise. He quickly got someone to bring the river sand used to build the terrace in the back garden and splash it on it. Unwoo was injured and hospitalized. His hands were severely burned. The doctor said that he couldn't draw anymore. Unwoo lay on the bed. He was very calm and only nodded. Shi Zhentian sat beside him. Unwu looked at Shi Zhentian with a soft, affectionate, and gentle gaze. He said lightly, "Grandpa, did you hear that? I can't draw anymore. So don't burn the things I drew in the past. Just take it as a memento of the first 20 years of my life. Remember that I used to draw." The old man's eyes were already filled with tears. At this moment, when he heard Yunwu's seemingly simple but heartbreaking pleas, tears flowed out of his eyes. He caressed his hand that was wrapped in brown medicine and gauze. When he lowered his head, he sobbed, "Unwu, I'm sorry. Forgive Grandpa." "Grandpa, I don't blame you. You're doing this for my own good. It's just that I've grown up. Let me experience what I need to experience, okay? Okay. Grandpa, I promise you again that I won't destroy Jiangzhou. Do you believe me?" "Yes. I'm so sleepy. Let me sleep for a while." In the early winter morning, Haiqing was covered in layers of fog. It had to be around 10 o'clock before it dissipated. Yi Er drove to the university town to attend the high school classes. Her major was chosen by Jiang Zhao. He didn't seem to want her to have much success in the future. In Yi Er's eyes, it was a bullshit major in finance and accounting. Jiang Zhao said that after she finished this major, it would be easy for her to take the civil service exam. Even if she didn't take the civil service exam, it would be good to have a wife who could manage the accounts. "But I want to learn how to dance." "What dance? What's there to learn? Didn't you win an award before? Your teacher might not be as good as you. If you have nothing to do, just stand on the bed and dance for me." Zhuang Yichen made an appointment with Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao thought it was something serious, but when he went over, he found out that it was about Xia Qian's driver's license. Today, Zhuang Yichen leaned against the princess bar counter. He rested his hand on the counter and played with a crystal glass in his hand. He didn't look as serious as he used to. He looked relaxed. Jiang Zhao sat on the high stool in front of the counter and poured himself a glass of wine. His head hurt when he talked about it, and he didn't want to drink anymore. "I'm doing this for Xia Qian's good. With her skills, being a road killer is a small matter. If she accidentally gets into a car accident and becomes a vegetable or dies, I'm afraid that Qiu and Xiaoyu won't be able to take it. Haha, that's good. If she dies, it'll be over. She won't have to persuade her all the time." With Zhuang Yichen's cold-blooded personality, it wasn't strange for him to say something like that. The glass was placed on the solid wood counter, making a soft muffled sound. Jiang Zhao was only worried that Xia Qian would hook up with Yi Er once her driver's license was released. He didn't stop Yi Er from being friends with Xia Qian, but he had to consider Yi Er's safety. "I was the one who told Xia Qian to retake her driver's license. Now her license has been revoked. The reason is that cheating is invalid. Even her examiner has punished her. Now you're telling me to forget about it? No, let her retake the test." Beauty novel Hongcha 866. Chapter 555. Sigh. Zhuang Yichen shook his head. He let go of the bar counter and flipped over to lean against it. He looked at Jiang Zhao and said helplessly, "Xia Qian said that she would never let Yi Er sit in her car again. She personally promised her sister. She also said." Zhuang Yichen paused and suddenly burst into laughter. Jiang Zhao was confused and asked, "What else did she say?" "She also said." Zhuang Yichen took a sip of wine and swallowed it down his throat. He smacked his lips and said, "She said that if Yin Yi shamelessly begged to sit in her car, she would take a stick and break Yin Ye's legs." Haha. Zhuang Yichen laughed again. He didn't hear this from Qiu Xiaoya. It was Qiu Xiaoya who had brought Xia Qian to him that day and made the promise in front of him. That day, Xia Qian looked very dispirited. She hung her head and looked like she had lost someone she loved. Think about it. You're happily out with your friends, and you're chatting while driving. Suddenly, you get into an accident and your driver's license is taken away. How miserable is that? There's nothing more heartbreaking than having your license taken away on your first day on the road. Xiaoya nudged Xia Qian. Cut the crap. You're not out of love. Get to the point. Xia Qian pushed Qiu Xiaoyu away and watched Zhuang Yichen walk up to him. She whispered sneakily, "Brother-in-law, please help me think of a way to get my driving license back." I really don't want to take the driving test anymore. I still want to study and work seriously. My time is really precious. Xiaoya didn't hear what Xiaqian was saying. She walked over impatiently and asked, "What did you say to my friend? What did you want?" Zhuang Yichen looked at Xiaqian and smiled. When he looked up at Xiaoya, he raised his eyebrows and asked curiously, "What did you say to your sister?" Xiaoya rolled her eyes at Xiaqian and reprimanded her in an exasperated tone. She insisted that I think of a solution for her. I told her that there was no solution. So she asked me to find someone to open the back door for her. I told her that you were my friend, and that you might be able to help. However, it's fine if you don't want to help. Serves her right for provoking Jiang Zhao. She's lucky that he didn't make things difficult for her. Zhuang Yichen had been standing, but now he sat down and looked up at Xiaqian's sneaky expression. Xiao Xiaoya had no reason to tell others about their relationship, but she kept saying that their relationship was over. Why did she come to him for help again and again? Xiaqian's way of calling him brother-in-law was interesting. Zhuang Yichen came back to his senses and looked at Jiang Zhao's gloomy face. Xiaqian's promise must have angered Jiang Zhao. He leaned his elbows on the bar counter and pushed his crystal glass towards Jiang Zhao's glass with his right hand. When they touched, he said, "Brother Zhao, do me a favor." "Who told you to investigate my private affairs? Wouldn't it be better if you didn't investigate me? If you didn't investigate me, I wouldn't have been able to find you for this. You're just looking for trouble." Jiang Zhao opened his glass and said, "Xiaqian's matter won't work. It's too dangerous. With her personality, she'll bring trouble to Yunyi sooner or later." As long as Zhuang Yichen asked Jiang Zhao for help, his attitude would be much better when there was no exchange of benefits. What can she do? I asked Xiao Xiaoya to buy her a new car with a high safety factor, and also found her a personal training partner. Driving was just a matter of driving on the road, and she would get used to it after a while. Even if she has a bad personality, she won't do anything. Yichen, then you owe me a favor. Yes, I'll remember it. Don't worry. I know how to pay back a favor. Jiang Zhao pushed his glass over and touched Zhuang Yichen's glass. The two of them raised their glasses and drank it in one gulp. Yi Er parked the car. There was a bag and a jacket on the passenger seat. He put on the jacket, grabbed the bag, pulled out the car key, and pushed the door open. Yi Er had just gotten out of the air-conditioned car, so it was a little cold. The cold fog and the chilly morning wind drilled into her neck, making her hair stand on end. She shrunk her neck and pulled the zipper on her thin jacket. The breath that he exhaled appeared very white in the misty morning, like a cloud. There was another person who stood on the balcony outside Xi Empire's CEO's office. He exhaled like he was exhaling a cloud. He reached out and gripped the air, until the air that came out of his lungs dissipated. His hand hung in midair. His fingers were long and slender, but they were not as white as the skin on his face. They were mottled with pink spots like newly grown flesh. Anan knocked on the glass door. Unwu turned around and nodded at her. Anan pulled open the glass door and walked to Unwu. "Brother Yu, we've got the land at room 326. It was cheap, the lowest price in history. Thank you for your hard work." Unwu smiled with relief. Anan was normally a cold person. When she saw the smile on Yunwu's face, she sighed internally. Then she smiled along with Unwu, and her eyes lit up. "Brother Yu, Grandpa still doesn't know about this. Should we inform him?" "There's no need for that. Grandpa will only let me do whatever I want. By the way, how's the deal with the expert going? Don't leave any loose ends." Unwu rarely frowned, but if he did, it meant that he was serious. Anan shrugged. "Don't worry, we've given him both dates and slaps. Nothing will happen. What's next after we get the land? If we're going to put on a show, we'll tell the public that we're going to build a coating factory. Then we'll find a suitable opportunity to invite an authoritative organization to conduct a test. We'll tell them how different the underground water is and how precious it is. We'll hire an expert to do these things. When the reward comes out, we'll build a large-scale hotel. Okay, I'll arrange it now." Anan turned around and walked to the glass door. Then she turned around again. "Brother Yu, I want to treat you to dinner tonight, okay?" Unwu smiled. and his face was as soft as the lake water in early spring. Okay, I remember that today is An's birthday, right? An bit her lower lip lightly, and her face suddenly flushed red. She immediately turned her face away. Okay, let's go together after work. Okay. Unwoo shook his head as he watched An run away. He muttered, even An is a year older. Yi-er's bag size was large. She was tall, and carrying such a bag was very stylish. Moreover, she had to go to high school, so it was not a problem for her to carry some books. There was no lack of peers in the high school class, which made up for a lot of regrets in Yi-er's heart. Ever since she started school, she was obviously happier than before, even though she had only been in class for a few days. The seats in the class were random. Those who arrived early would get a better seat. Yi-er drove herself. Since there was nothing going on at home, she always arrived early. After she picked a seat, the empty seats around her could be filled up quickly. Moreover, it was a group of boys. Yi-er and Jiang Zhao did not hold a grand wedding. They were considered low-key among the wealthy. Even if people knew about Jiang Zhao, they might not be interested in his wife, especially the commoners. There was no one in this class who was born into a wealthy family. Moreover, she had not attended any public events with Jiang Zhao. It was normal for people who did not care about the people's lives to not know her. A bunch of boys wanted to make their presence known around her. There were even some who wanted to show off their muscles in the middle of winter. Forget it. Anyway, they wanted to show off their muscles. She was not the one who caught a cold, so she could not be bothered to look at them. Jiang Zhao was a man who looked muscular when he took off his clothes, but skinny when he put on clothes. She probably could not find such a good breed in this class. He was not good enough for her. The trouble was that some young men liked to use very romantic methods to woo her. There was no lack of sons of nouveau riche in this class. For example, there was one who had a family of a few million yuan and thought that he was rich. The cool boy had dyed his hair a flamboyant yellow. His hair was not very short, and when it moved, it looked like there was a hedgehog moving on his head. His ears were pierced with earrings. Suddenly, he sat down beside Yi-er. He leaned his hand in front of Yi-er's face and greeted her. Hi, beauty. Yi-er also waved her hand. Hi, classmate. The boy seemed a little disappointed by Yi-er's reaction. His hand was still moving around on Yi-er's desk like a snake. Beauty, are you free? Let's have lunch together. We can drive there. Yi-er frowned. The smile on her face was a little dry. Classmate. That hand was still waving in front of Yi-er's face. Yi-er was a little annoyed. Classmate, the tattoo on your arm is a little scary. Is it? The boy swallowed his saliva and blushed. He reached out his other hand and touched the platinum chain on his wrist. He kept looking at the chain and said, I think it's okay? It's not scary. Yi-er wanted to vomit blood. Do you have to be so obvious? Will you die if you don't? Look at that Louis Vuitton wallet on your butt. Do you have to deliberately show a big part of it? Seeing that Yi-er was still not asking, the cool boy asked shamelessly, What do you think of this winter's new collection? Does it look good? It's not bad. Yi-er took out a book from her bag and placed it on the table. She pushed it away and deliberately took out another book and spread it open. She wanted to fill up the table and get rid of that non-mainstream hand. In the end, the cool boy diligently helped Yi-er tidy up the messy books on the table. He folded them neatly and said, You don't have to take them all out. There aren't that many classes. If you think it's not bad, I'll give you this chain. Yi-er shook her head. It's too expensive. I don't want it. What's the big deal? It's just a Cartier. If you like it, I'll buy a female one for you tomorrow. Some people around them couldn't stand it anymore, especially when there was such a big gap between the rich and the poor in the class. You won't bring fake goods tomorrow, right? Fake your ass. The cool boy immediately stood up and made a face that said, Are you King asking for a beating? He glared at the boy sitting to Yi-er's left. Yi-er coughed. I don't want this kind of thing. Don't waste your money. I don't like it. You don't like it. The cool boy looked at Yi-er in disbelief. Yi-er thought in her heart. What are you looking at? I'm also wearing branded clothes. It's just that I'm wearing custom-made clothes. But since they were classmates, it's better to be friendly. If this happened in high school, she wouldn't care. She would rather have a fight. But it's different now. If things get out of hand, people might say, 2 19-year-old boys fought over the mayor's wife. This kind of news headline will be devastating. She doesn't want to provoke Jiang Zhao. In the afternoon, Yi Er went to the cafeteria alone for lunch. In the afternoon, the cool boy didn't come to class. Yi Er felt that things had calmed down. But when school ended, Yi Er was blocked at the school gate. The cool boy was carrying a bouquet of lilies and wanted Yi Er to accept it. Attention Songshu 566. Chapter 556. You're not giving me face. Beauty. How about we have a candlelight dinner tonight? I'll take you to an Italian restaurant. The cool boy refused to believe that Yi Er could not get a beauty with money. He could get her just by eating and gifting her branded goods. Phew. Yi Er exhaled. She heard the alarm on her phone in her bag. She took it out and sent a message to Xiaqian. Qian, I'm stuck at the entrance of my school. Hurry up and save me. Just as the message was successful, her phone was turned off. When Xiaqian received the message, her first reaction was to run downstairs. As she ran, she called Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao, Yi Er just sent me a message saying that she's stuck at the entrance of her school and asked me to save her. Her phone is turned off. I think this is serious. Where are you? As soon as Xiaqian finished speaking, she heard the ear-piercing sound of screeching brakes coming from the phone. Jiang Zhao's phone was still pressed against his ear. He heard Xiaqian panting as she ran. She sounded very anxious. Stuck in a traffic jam? It couldn't be a traffic jam. She definitely didn't need someone to save her. She was stuck in a traffic jam. Was that why she needed Xiaqian to save her? He tilted his head and held the phone. He glanced at the rearview mirror and stepped on the accelerator. He turned the steering wheel and quickly made a U-turn. Xiaqian, go look for security first or bring a few classmates over. I'll be right there. Xiaqian couldn't drive her car, but she didn't forget to remind Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao, I don't have a car now. My bike was taken away by my classmate. I'll run over now. Hurry up. You know how big the university town is. It'll take me a while to get there. Got it. I'll get someone to release your driver's license tomorrow. Hurry up and drive over. After Jiang Zhao finished speaking, he added, don't go too fast. Be careful not to hit someone. Okay. Xiaqian didn't drive. At this time, there were many people on the road. It was better to walk than drive. A newbie was most afraid of constantly changing gears and changing speed. She didn't need to look for security first. She would look for it outside Yi Er's school. That would save her time. She took the keys and the bike. She took it out and rushed out. Although Xiaqian was a smart person who would not forget to calculate her driver's license when her friend was in trouble, her chivalrous heart to save her friend from disaster did not diminish because of the benefits. She pedaled very quickly. The sun in winter was not as orange as it was in summer. But it was warm. Her hair was not coarse. It was very fine and not thick. Because of this, she always had a shoulder-length pear blossom hairstyle. Her permed hair was a little loose, making it look like she had more hair. As she pedaled the bicycle at high speed, her small shoulders shook from side to side. She seemed to be working very hard. Her medium-length hair was pulled up by the inertia of the wind, making her look like a beautiful superwoman. By the time Xiaqian rode her bike to the School of Business, it was as if she had gone through an intense physical training. Her back was drenched in sweat, and her face was red with sweat. She couldn't even breathe. He took off his jacket and threw it in the basket in front of the bike. There were a lot of people around the school gate. Everyone was talking. Yi Er was surrounded by the crowd. She didn't even have time to set up the bike. She threw it on the ground and rushed over. Xiaqian was angry. Damn it. She transformed into a beautiful female warrior and rushed from the north gate to the south gate of the university. Did she come just to see a boy with a strange temperament give Yi Er lilies? He even knelt on one knee. The boy made Xiaqian think. $15 for a hairdryer. But at least he was male. He didn't look like a coward. Damn you, Yin Yi. You damn woman. We're friends. Do you have to be so obvious? Will you die if you don't show off? It's fine if you show off to others. But you deliberately sent me a message to force me to see you show off. Don't you know that I've never received flowers? Don't you know that I don't have a boyfriend? Xia Qian was an idiot. Her actions and thoughts were different from ordinary people. He forgot that what he should be doing now was to save Yi. He started to touch his own face. Baby fat? I don't think so. She touched her waist. Bucket waist? I don't think so. She touched her butt. Not perky. I think it's a little perky. She touched her legs. Not long. She's only this tall. Her proportions are okay. Finally, she touched her chest. She finally found the crux of the problem. She shrugged her shoulders like a defeated rooster. Sigh, it's too flat. She doesn't even tremble when she runs without a bra. He really envied those women who ran with a pile of waves in front of their chests, trembling violently. Sigh, she thought of those women in commercials on TV. Why did those women with F breasts have to wear low-cut clothes? How could those girls with A breasts endure it? Yi Er saw Xia Qian and heaved a sigh of relief. It was as if he had seen his savior. Qian Qian. Xia Qian glared at Yi Er. Call me your sister. How many days have you been in the university? You've only been here for a few days and someone is already giving you flowers? I've been here for a few years. How dare you accept flowers after a few days? If you dare, I'll break off our friendship. You really made bad friends. What a blow. Yi Er was stunned. That's not right. Shouldn't Xia Qian be glaring at the non-mainstream? Xia Qian. Your sister is in trouble now. Instead of coming to help, you're tidying up your appearance. Are you crazy? Xia Qian looked at Yi Er's pleading face. For the sake of her driving license, she had to endure it. She questioned Yi Er angrily. What are you still doing here? Hurry up and go back. Your husband is looking for you. Yi Er wanted to kick Xia Qian. Couldn't she be nicer? He whispered. Did you eat gunpowder? I get hot when I see you. Xia Qian felt that she needed to put out the fire. Husband. But it didn't matter. He wasn't afraid. What young people needed was to be hot-blooded, impulsive, persistent, and daring to love and hate. As long as they had their eyes on something, they would fight for it even if the King of Heaven were to come. How exciting would that be? Young people needed to be hot-blooded, impulsive, stubborn, persevering, daring to love and hate. As long as they had their eyes on something, they would fight for it even if the King of Heaven came. Just thinking about it made his blood boil. It's okay. We're all eating together. What? Yi Er and Xia Qian looked at the cool boy in a daze. Then they looked at each other and communicated with their eyes. Is he crazy? Actually, wash, cut, blow was not bad looking. It was just that he was dressed too strangely. His clothes and pants were all sparkling. It was a completely unconventional combination. The only thing missing was a sign that said, I'm a non-mainstream, or wash, cut, blow, 15 yuan. He was even kneeling on the ground with one knee and holding up the lilies with both hands. Yi Er asked with concern. Student, are you tired? Why don't you sit on the ground and rest? Then she would find a nail and pin it down. Wash, cut, blow, blow was delighted. Sit. The beauty was actually asking him to sit? It seemed like she was concerned about him. He wasn't afraid of being tired. He continued to maintain the posture that he felt gave him the best chance of winning. Will you accept it? Yi Er's eyes were as pure as a rabbit's. She gave a friendly but fake smile. No. Give it to someone else. No, you have to accept it. Otherwise, I won't let you leave. Xia Qian smiled as she bent down and leaned in front of the boy. She sniffed the fragrant lilies and enjoyed it very much. Haha, student, why don't you give it to me? I quite like it. Wash, cut, blow, cut. Blow looked at Xia Qian and his eyes lit up. Although she wasn't as tall as Yi Er and had a flat chest, she was quite good-looking. Just as he was about to hesitate, the surrounding crowd began to talk. Oh my god, it's Xia Qian. Yeah, the famous person in the university town. The one from the media school. Xia Qian's mouth twitched. Oh right. She pushed a girl down in the garden and kissed her. The entire university town knows about the photo. It's so explosive. Yeah. That girl even posted a post complaining about what happened to her. She said that she was forced. Xia Qian stood up and sneered at the crowd. Shut up. You're slandering me. It caused her to have no suitors from junior high to university. Every time she met a woman, her reputation would be ruined. There was a boy in junior high who confessed to her. That was history that she would never forget. However, the next day, she was set up by a girl in her class. She was the one who was forced to kiss, but the photos that came out were all of her. They were even having sex in the grass. Moreover, that girl was recognized by the whole school as fat sis. Not only was she looked down on for having bad taste, the school even said that the physical and mental health of teenagers nowadays required psychological counseling. Because of her incident, the school even hired a psychologist for several months to teach the students about gender selection. From then on, not a single boy dared to pursue her. Even the boys who had confessed to her avoided her when they saw her. That was fine. It wasn't easy for her to endure until she graduated from high school. She thought about the beautiful university life that was coming. Dating was allowed in university. She, this withered tree, was finally going to experience spring. Who knew that she would encounter the same painful history as in junior high? She had just confessed to a boy, but the next day, she was forced to kiss again. It was an ugly girl who cried and complained that she was the one who forced herself on her. Following that, the school forum posted her criminal record in junior high. Criminal record. When he was in junior high school, he forcefully kissed an ugly girl and pressed her into the grass. When he was in university, pressing an ugly girl into a flower bush and forcefully kissing her shouldn't be something unacceptable. Therefore, she could only fantasize about handsome men. She could see them, but not touch them. Sigh, a woman who didn't have her first kiss. How sad and unlucky. Anyway, no boy dared to pursue her. Even if she saw a handsome man with a heart, he would tremble. It didn't matter if she thought about it. Anyway, university was coming to an end. When she got a job in the future, she would be completely innocent. Yi Er knew about Xia Qian's history, so he didn't have much of a reaction. When the kneeling man heard Xia Qian's history, he immediately dispelled his impulse to woo her. He said firmly, I only like Yi Er. He then placed the hesitant lilies in front of Yi Er. If Yi Er moved to the left, he would move the flowers to the left. If Yi Er moved to the right, he would move to the right. If Yi Er moved to the left, he would chase after him and kneel down again. Yi Er was entangled like this and couldn't get away. If there weren't so many people watching, she would have found a brick and thrown it at him. My name is Deng Chao. I'm 19 years old. I live in the south. Deng Chao, who had a unique aura, said stubbornly. He raised his eyebrows and looked at the people around him with a smug look. The south was a rich area. Deng Chao, I'll accept it on behalf of Yi Er. Xia Qian thought that it would be good to put the flowers in a vase. Yi Er added, Deng Chao, go buy another bouquet for Qian Qian. She likes to be in a sea of flowers. Xia Qian immediately hooked her arm around Yi Er's arm. They were like sisters. Not bad. Come and see. Xinwu 799. Chapter 557. With Xia Qian around, Yi Er was not as nervous as before. After all, Xia Qian was a witness. Whenever she took a step forward, Xia Qian would chase after her and stop her. She refused. Otherwise, they would have to fight. Ever since she was almost stabbed to death by a hooligan, she did not dare to pick a fight. Hey Deng Chao, why don't you get up and let Qian Qian accompany you to eat Italian food? My husband doesn't like Italian food. The crowd burst into laughter. Xia Qian's eyes lit up as she looked at Deng Chao. Italian food? I want the most expensive one. She acted as if he was going to have a meal with her. The crowd burst into laughter again. Yi Er, I like you. Take the flowers and let's go for Italian food. You can bring your boyfriend along. It's my treat. I'll make him back off. Xia Qian held on to Yi Er, and also spat at herself. Young man, it's not that I want to chide you, but it's not right for you to do this. Jiang Zhao was very tall. When he walked briskly towards the crowd, Xia Qian saw him. She jumped up and waved at Jiang Zhao. Over here. Yi Er looked up and saw her too. She stomped her foot. It's over. Xia Qian, you traitor. If anything happens to me today, I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. Xia Qian said. I don't want to let you off either. Jiang Zhao pushed through the crowd and saw the so-called blockage. It was really blockage and annoying. Xia Qian looked at Jiang Zhao and scratched her head. I'm sorry. I didn't know she wanted me to come over to deal with this. If I had known, I wouldn't have asked you to come over. I can handle it myself. After that, she looked down at Deng Chao, who was getting more and more arrogant. She reached out her leg and nudged his knee. Look at him. Back off, in the face of difficulties is tailor-made for you. When Deng Chao saw Jiang Zhao, he was obviously stunned. Yi Er's husband? A child who did not care about politics would not know how the mayor looked like after he published the newspaper. But he was so handsome. Where did he get this celebrity from? I didn't accept it. Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao innocently. Jiang. Deputy mayor. That's right, that's right. He's more handsome than on TV and in the newspapers. It's in the winter. When Deng Chao heard from the crowd that this person was the deputy mayor, he could not believe it. He never read newspapers or news. He only watched the entertainment programs on the various channels. He knew Xianbin, Zheng Yuanchang, Hejiong, Happy Base Camp, and even Kangxi was here. However, he didn't know what time Haiqing News simulcast started and ended. He also didn't know the name of Haiqing's party secretary. He knew there was a very handsome deputy mayor called Jiang Zhao, but he was forced to do so by the girls in his class. The girls were crazy about him, but he was not. She looked at Jiang Zhao for a while before she came back to her senses. It was true. This time he was in big trouble. Thank you. It's a nice flower. Jiang Zhao took the flowers from the boy and asked casually, Are you my wife's classmates? Jiang Zhao was too polite, so Deng Chao could only reply indifferently. Then let's have dinner together. It's time for dinner. Yi Er felt dizzy and said softly, Zhao. Jiang Zhao held Yi Er's hand gently and looked at her. How you are too much. As he spoke, he placed the flowers in Yi Er's hands. His long arms wrapped around her shoulders, and his large hands caressed her round shoulders. I even told you to keep a low profile in case someone gives us a wedding gift. You just can't control your mouth. Deng Chao was speechless. Those gifts were not for the both of you. They were for Yi Er alone. But it was a stressful thing to see a handsome man standing in front of her. There were a lot of girls who were smitten by Feng Yu. Look at that handsome man. His eyes were full of love. His eyes were full of love, his smile was full of love, and his gentlemanly demeanor. It was really mesmerizing. The mayor was really good at reading people's feelings. Xia Qian was about to go crazy. Yin Yi, our grudge has been sowed. You are such a cunning woman. After showing off your suitor, you show off your husband. So what if you have a husband? What's the big deal? Hey, look at this sour feeling, so hateful. For the sake of my driving license, I will bear with it. You have a husband, and I have a car. Fine. You also have a car. Although your car is slightly better than mine, but your car was bought by your husband. You are living off a woman. I look down on women like you who live off women and don't have any real ability. Fine. My car was also bought with my sister's money. Look up at the sky. Oh God. We are both living off a woman, but why is there such a big difference? When will you open your eyes and see how unfair this world is? Where are my peach blossoms? Give me back my peach blossoms. Jiang Zhao stood in front of Deng Chao. Although he looked as gentlemanly and elegant as he appeared in front of the media, there was an inexplicable aura in his smile. Especially when he looked at Deng Chao. It was as if a sword could shoot out from his smiling eyes. Deng Chao shivered. They are really married? He took another look at Jiang Zhao and immediately looked away. Is this mayor trying to kill someone? You. Jiang Zhao held Yi Er in one hand and extended his other hand to Deng Chao. He put his 4 fingers together and separated his thumbs. He introduced himself. Jiang Zhao, Yin Yi Er's legal husband. We registered our marriage on National Day this year. May I know your name? This time, Deng Chao could tell that Jiang Zhao was hiding a dagger behind his smile. He gave himself some encouragement and stretched out his hand. Deng Chao. Jiang Zhao looked at Deng Chao with a smile and said, "Thank you for the lilies you gave us. Although didn't announce our marriage to the public, I will take some time to invite her classmates to have a meal together. Mr. Deng, you must come. I want to thank you for your kindness." Deng Chao shook off Jiang Zhao's hand and said, "Those lilies are for Yi Er." Jiang Zhao stood in front of so many people and said, "It's the same. Husband and wife are one. I got to thank you for giving those lilies to her." A pretty girl clapped her hands. "Mayor Jiang is so generous. You and the mayor's wife are so affectionate. Thank you. Thank you." Jiang Zhao nodded and thanked them. But in his heart, he was scolding them. He was a politician, but why are they behaving like those in the entertainment industry? All of them need to be taught a lesson. Good bearing? He was not so generous. He wished he was a member of the triad now. He wanted to teach this guy a lesson. The three of them entered the car, and Jiang Zhao turned to Xiaqian. "Xiaqian, thank you for telling me about Yi Er's news. I will treat you to a meal." Jiang Zhao dragged out the words as soon as possible. When he finished speaking, he looked meaningfully at Yi Er, who was sitting beside Xiaqian. Yi Er felt a little creeped out by his stare. First, she knew she would die a horrible death today. She wondered if she would die without a corpse. Xiaqian said that they must eat good and expensive food to show Jiang Zhao's status. Jiang Zhao said, "How about Sea Moon Restaurant?" Xiaqian said, "That's a good idea." Then she sighed and said, "I feel like going to work today." Jiang Zhao did not show any signs of wanting to skin Yi Er alive. This calmness made Yi Er feel uneasy. But when she thought about what Jiang Zhao said at the entrance of the school, she felt so happy. His gaze was so memorable. Yi Er was completely engulfed in happiness. Her husband was such a good person, and her mood gradually improved. She sat in the back seat and hooked her arm around Xiaqian's. "Qian, you're so good to me. You came just like that. I have no regrets in this life to have a confidant like you." Jiang Zhao listened to Yi Er chatting with Xiaqian and Yi Er. He took out his phone and typed a text. University Town's business school opened a second class this year. Deng Chao. His family information has been found. His demeanor? His bearing? That would not be used when other people were coveting his wife. Although he was just a kid, kids were the ones who were annoying. He pestered him every day. How could he let him go to work? Some of the things that were out of line these days were all caused by these kids who did not know their limits. They did whatever they wanted. The key was that provocative gaze. He felt that such a person should not be left by Yi Er's side. Sooner or later, something would happen. Did he think he could fly just because he had some money? Did he think he could touch any woman he wanted? Not to mention that Yi Er was his wife now. Even before they were married, it was impossible. She was just attending school. Why did she cause so much trouble? How many days had it been? Was she that attractive? It couldn't be, right? She wasn't that good-looking, right? She was just SOSO, right? He raised his eyebrows and looked at the rearview mirror. The two girls were fighting and playing. His heart skipped a beat. Little kids. When the word little kid popped out again, he was stunned. That's right. She was a little kid. Deng Chao was also a little kid. Two little kids. Did they have a common language? Xiaqian pushed Yi Er away and said disdainfully, "Good my ass. So what if you have people chasing you? You want to show me? I don't owe you money, right?" Yi Er looked at Xiaqian for a few seconds and laughed out loud. "That's right. Who asked you to owe me money? Since you didn't pay me back, I can only make you unhappy. You haven't received such a big bouquet of flowers, right? Isn't it very fragrant? Isn't it very beautiful? Has anyone ever knelt before you before? Qian, hurry up and pay me back. After you pay me back, I won't treat you like this anymore." Xiaqian huffed and puffed. Oh, this damned woman. She dug a hole for her and she really jumped into it. Shameless. Yi Er was taller than Xiaqian, but at this moment, he leaned on Xiaqian's shoulder and chuckled. "How can I hang out with you if I'm shameless? If I hang out with you if I'm shameless, I'll be at a disadvantage. How about it?" You owe me such a big sum of money. Do you want to calculate the interest? Interest? I've already paid back all my debts today. Xiaqian glanced at Jiang Zhao, who was driving, and kept silent. She raised her voice and said to Yi Er, Yi Er, if I was late today, would you have accepted the flowers? Would you have gone to eat Italian food with that guy? Luckily, I was there in time. You looked so smug at the time. It looked like you were about to run away with him. Have you never seen flowers or that kind of guy before? When did your taste become so unique? Come and see. Xingwu 799. Chapter 558. Hey. Xia Qian. What are you talking about? Yi Er's face changed. She quickly glanced at the man in front, who was holding the steering wheel, and covered Xia Qian's mouth. What are you talking about? That's why I texted you to help me out. You saw it too. He was kneeling on the ground and refused to get up. I chased after him. Xia Qian shook her head and said, That's why I found it strange. You're so tall and strong. You could have just kicked him over. Why did you let him express his love for you? You're just vain. You just wanted to show off in front of me. But you didn't expect that I would call your husband over when I was worried. That's why you quickly restrained yourself, right? You even said that if anything happens to you today, you will haunt me even after I become a ghost. I just can't stand women like you who are greedy. Xia Qian knew Yi Er would not kick that hairdryer over. She would have kicked that hairdryer over when she had no status. But now she was the mayor's wife. How could she do such an inappropriate thing? She had no choice but to ask her to go over. But since she despised her for not receiving any flowers and no one had pursued her before, she will make sure that something bad happens to her today. Ha. But why did Jiang Zhao not have any reaction? Shouldn't he step on the brakes? Should he turn around and roar at her? Is this how a husband should react? While driving, Jiang Zhao looked at the text message on his phone. Deng Chao, 19 years old. Ancestral home in Wuxia, Haicheng. His father owns 2 leather factories with a total of 1,000 workers. They produce luggage, leather shoes, belts, and other goods. There is a 200 square meter property in the south of Haicheng. There is a villa in the suburbs. Wu County. Jiang Zhao finished reading the messages. Sure enough, he was chasing after women just because he was rich. When he told Yi Er that she was his wife, that brat still dared to say that the flowers were for Yi Er. He still wants to go against me? There was a bit of a traffic jam at this time, so it was a good time to write a text message. Check taxes, check accounts, check fire protection, check employee overtime wages and labor contracts. Thinking about it, he had also used this method to deal with Yi Er's friend, Zheng Ling, to make her retreat. But it was a coincidence that they were both businessmen. After sending the message, Dong Xuebing replied, Okay, I will do it now. Yi Er pinched Xia Qian. Xia Qian, you have to be responsible for what you say. When did I eat from the pot and look at the bowl? Xia Qian cried out in pain. I told you the truth. Are you trying to kill me to silence me? Yi Er naturally did not silence her. She got up from her seat and stood face to face with Xia Qian, blocking Jiang Zhao's line of sight. She reached out her demonic claws, grabbed Xia Qian's breasts and squeezed hard. Xia Qian was in so much pain that she wanted to scream, but she did not dare to. I will take my revenge. Yi Er sneered. I am helping you. Didn't you always complain that your breasts are too small? I will pinch and make them swollen. Xia Qian wanted to take revenge, but she did not dare to hit Jiang Zhao's wife in the car. The reason was simple. She still had not gotten her driver's license. Even if she had gotten her driver's license, she could not afford to offend her. Xia Qian suddenly realized that her driver's license was in jeopardy. What's so great about the mayor? I will find a governor and trample him to death. Forget it. The governor is too old. He should be around Jiang Zhao's age. Fine. This girl without a boyfriend is starting to think about handsome guys. It's sad. No. My breasts are exquisite. You don't understand. Xia Qian was thinking. Will it really hurt if I pinch them? If I pinch one of them, will there be a big one and a small one? Damn Yin Yi. Why don't you pinch both of them? Ah. So exquisite. Yi Er laughed. Jiang Zhao brought Yi Er and Xia Qian to Highway Restaurant. When they entered, the head waiter immediately came over to receive them. Jiang Zhao greeted him. Xia Qian is the one who recommended us. She will get the commission. We will be having our meal here today. Xia Qian lowered her head proudly and pretended to be reserved. The head waiter was giving face to the mayor, and the meaning behind his words was clear. No problem. They walked towards the lift. Mayor Jiang. Jiang Zhao stopped in his tracks and turned around. The smile on his face widened, and his voice sounded magnanimous and hearty. Hello, Mr. Shun. As he spoke, he strode back, appearing very enthusiastic. Shen Kai also walked over and shook hands with Jiang Zhao almost at the same time. Haha. Mayor Jiang, you are also having your meal here today? Yes. What about you? Both of them let go of their hands. Oh, I am alone. When he saw the two women behind Jiang Zhao, Xia Qian naturally caught his attention. He smiled and recommended to Jiang Zhao. Highway Restaurant's egg fried rice is not bad. The loofah soup and kelp are also not bad. You should try it. Xia Qian almost vomited blood. Those who block my path to wealth die. Even if you are handsome, you are not an exception. There will be no mercy. Jiang Zhao and Shen Kai had known each other since they were young. They were also in the same batch in university. In the past, when Shen Kai was pursuing Ouyang Yan, his relationship with Jiang Zhao was not that bad. Shen Kai once treated Jiang Zhao to a drink, and both of them had a fight. Shen Kai said that he could not bear to see Jiang Zhao being so arrogant. He felt that Jiang Zhao was not someone who could be snatched away from him. No one could snatch Ouyang Yan away from him. Ouyang Yan's attitude was the same as Jiang Zhao's. She was still eating and drinking with her love rival. It was as if she was telling everyone in Highway University that the man belonged to her, Ouyang Yan. No matter how much you look forward to it, he will never be yours. Both of them were equally arrogant. Even if many people wanted to break them up, they had to spread their stories. They were a match made in heaven. Both of them were from powerful families. One of them was from a wealthy family, and the other was from a powerful family in both politics and business. Ouyang Yan would not lose to Jiang Zhao in any exams. The number of degrees Jiang Zhao had, Ouyang Yan would also have the same number of degrees. Both of them could always work together. They were both arrogant and disdainful of others. The reason for their disdain was because they had set their sights on each other. They were a match made in heaven. But even so, looking at the people behind Jiang Zhao, you would believe that nothing in this world could last forever. Nothing could last forever. So it was better not to think that anything could last forever. Because if you had such thoughts when eternity finally broke, you would only feel that the heavens were always playing tricks on you. Shen Kai whispered to Jiang Zhao, "Your wife is very beautiful." "You definitely won't say that she's not beautiful, haha." Jiang Zhao waved his hand and patted Shen Kai's back. "Let's eat together? You'll be alone anyway." "Of course." Shen Kai was a straightforward person, so he agreed right away. Yi Er originally wanted to bare her fangs and brandish her claws at Xia Qian, but when she saw Jiang Zhao's colleagues, she could only put away her restless thoughts and only dared to make some small moves. Shen Kai was also a very observant person. Yi Er's small moves did not escape his eyes. He was puzzled. When did Jiang Zhao like this kind of woman? Was it just because she was young and beautiful? Although Ouyang Yan was a few years older than Yin Yi, she took good care of herself and looked very young. She also had a much better temperament than Yin Yi. Ouyang Yan looked like a woman who knew a lot of things. Didn't Jiang Zhao like that? Although today's commission was Xia Qian's, she did not work overtime today, so there were other people serving her. The few of them sat down and started to order. Xia Qian refused to hand the menu to Shen Kai. After a few words, Shen Kai understood what she meant. He did not say anything. He was not the host today. Xia Qian found it strange. Why didn't this guy order today? She was worried that he would order. Shen Kai placed one hand on the table and sat casually. He was a casual person. As long as he was not eating with a very important superior, he would be like this. The two men's suits had already been hung up. Yi Er watched the two men chat from time to time. They dressed in the same way. Probably because they worked in the government, Jiang Zhao looked very righteous. She knew that Jiang Zhao had always been like this outside. Although Shen Kai was also wearing a shirt and a collared sweater, she did not know if it was an illusion, but she always felt that Shen Kai was a little bad. She always thought that the men who worked in the government were all like Jiang Zhao. They were beasts outside and beasts when they took off their clothes at home. In the end, there were people like Shen Kai. Other than the rigid court uniform, he always gave people the impression that he was not a kind person. Did he not know how to hide himself like Jiang Zhao? Jiang Zhao and Shen Kai sat together, while Yi Er and Xia Qian sat across from each other at the round table. This way, they were very far away. However, Jiang Zhao was a male chauvinist, so Yi Er didn't mind. She kept a distance from him and chatted with Xia Qian while eating. The private rooms in Haiwei restaurant were very big. Xia Qian wanted to take advantage of Jiang Zhao again, so she insisted on ordering the largest private room. The large private room had a minimum charge, so her commission was high. However, this way, the table was very big. Moreover, there was music in the private room, so Xia Qian and Yi Er could not hear them clearly. When Xia Qian lowered her head to eat, she looked up and glanced at Shen Kai. She said to Yi Er, "Why does Jiang Zhao have friends like this? Wuxia and the other. They're colleagues." "Humph." Xia Qian snorted unhappily. Yi Er sniffled. "You're so weird. Did they provoke you?" Xia Qian thought to herself that she should just forget it. She should not provoke this man at this table. If he wanted to take revenge in the future, and specially came to her place of work to order egg fried rice, she would go crazy. "I was just humming. You're so nosy." However, she was a little unhappy, so she said, "You know how to order good food when you're eating others, but you're so stingy when you're eating yourself." Although the table was big, Shen Kai heard this sentence clearly. He raised his eyebrows and found it funny when Xia Qian lowered her head to talk bad about him behind his back. "Miss Xia, who are you talking about?" Xia Qian looked up. "Nobody. I was just saying. Why do I feel like you're talking about me?" Yi Er and Jiang Zhao looked at each other, indicating that they did not understand. Xia Qian felt that she was here to spend money today, so her level was different. She felt that it was not good to mention his name. "If you insist on blaming yourself, then there's nothing I can do." "Oh, so you're not talking about me. No wonder I couldn't remember. You should eat more today. Anyway, you won't treat me back if I ask you. Come and see." Hongcha 866. Chapter 559. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by I will not treat you back? Shen Kai said calmly. Then the next time you treat Mayor Jiang and Mrs. Jiang to a meal at Haiwei restaurant, remember to invite me. I need to be your witness. If not, I will not believe that a stingy person like you will do such a thing. Xia Qian froze. Oh God, this bastard had seen through her. He knew that she was stingy. But why must it be Haiwei restaurant? Does he want her to go bankrupt? Why do I need you to be my witness? Do I want you to come over and watch us eat? Haha. If Miss Xia can treat Mrs. Jiang and Mrs. Jiang to a meal, she must be a generous person. Do you mind having an extra pair of chopsticks? I mind. Shen Kai laughed shamelessly. I don't mind basking in Mayor Jiang and Mrs. Jiang's glory. I can also fill my stomach. Xia Qian really wanted to scold him. Facing such a shameless man, how could she be so wrong that she didn't even dare to say F***CK, or your sister? It was all Jiang Zhao's fault. She was afraid of this man who worked for the government. He always used his authority to create trouble for her. She could not afford to get hurt. Her sister had taught her not to mess with the rich and powerful. Now there were a bunch of new rich and powerful people in High City. They were all from wealthy families and should not be messed with. Luckily, this matter did not get out of hand. If it got out of hand, no one would be able to save her. No matter how stupid she was, she still knew what was at stake. To prevent herself from scolding, Xia Qian turned to look for trouble with Yi Er. Look at your husband treating me to a meal. He had said that he would treat me, but he still wants to include me. This meal does not count. Yi Er rolled her eyes at Xia Qian. Dream on. Next time, you still want to cheat my husband? Dream on. I will treat you next time. I don't want you to treat me. I want Jiang Zhao to treat me. You are such a stingy person. You will not treat me more than 200 renminbi. You dare to call me a stingy person? Every time you treat me to a meal, it will not be more than 50 renminbi. Are you the same as me? I don't have a boyfriend, a husband, a job, or money. Yi Er smiled mysteriously. There's still something you don't have. What? Yi Er placed her hands on Xia Qian's shoulders and pressed her down under the table. The tablecloth was very long, and the two women's heads were exposed. Xia Qian cooperatively bent down and asked again in a low voice, Do I have anything else? Yi Er reached out and grabbed Xia Qian's breasts, squeezing them hard. You have no breasts. So, I'll help you make it bigger. Xia Qian almost flipped the table, but she didn't dare to cry out in pain. Yin Yi, can't you change it? When the time comes, my shoulder will tilt. Ah. Yi Er covered her mouth and whispered into Xia Qian's ear. I'm good now. And don't worry, I'll squeeze you 10 more times and your shoulders won't tilt. Because you're not an A, you're AA. Ha. Xia Qian knew that she was small, but it wasn't to the extent of being concave, right? When did this Yin Yi become so vicious? Actually, before Yi Er met Xia Qian and Xiaoya, she would never have randomly squeezed a girl's breasts like she was doing now. But the first time she met Xiaoya, Xiaoya had squeezed her breasts. After that, she became more daring. The more she played, the more familiar she became. And the more familiar she became, the less she took it seriously. Jiang Zhao watched as Yi Er happily pushed Xia Qian back and forth. The two of them were mumbling something to each other, and the corners of his mouth lifted. Children will always be children. She can throw a tantrum anywhere. Let her throw a tantrum. Otherwise, she'll cry and complain that she has depression, that she's going to suffocate to death, that she's going to commit suicide, that if she dies, he'll lose his wife, and all sorts of inauspicious things. Seeing how happy she was now, it was impossible for her to have depression. Shen Kai looked at Yi Er and Xia Qian, who were sitting opposite them. He didn't know what they were laughing about. Yin Yi looked like a lady from a wealthy family, but she kept hitting Xia Qian under the table. Jiang Zhao had been in a relationship with a woman like Ouyang Yan. How could he tolerate it? He turned and saw Jiang Zhao looking at Yi Er with a smile on his face. Jiang Zhao. Shen Kai had not addressed Jiang Zhao as mayor, ever since he entered the private room. Jiang Zhao regained his senses. He didn't mind Shen Kai addressing him this way. Shen Kai, what is it? After Yi Er and Xia Qian were done fooling around, they turned around and saw Jiang Zhao slowly picking up the white jade wine cup in front of him. As he listened to Shen Kai speak, his expression became more and more serious. The cup in his hand touched Shen Kai's cup lightly, and the two of them drank slowly. When the wine reached their lips, they smacked their lips and furrowed their brows. Yi Er was a little worried, especially when she saw Jiang Zhao keeping his mouth shut and straightening his back. He took a deep breath and slowly let it out through his nose. Then he slowly lowered his shoulders. Although his movements were small, she could tell that Shen Kai was talking about something important. But his voice was too soft. It was not as loud as the music in the private room. After dinner, Yi Er said that she would drive Shen Kai and Xia Qian back first. Shen Kai stood in front of Haiyu restaurant and wore his old-fashioned suit from the procuratorate. But he unbuttoned his suit, revealing his V-neck sweater. He pulled up his suit and put his hands in his pockets. He tilted his shoulders slightly and said to Yi Er, Mrs. Jiang, please send Mayor Jiang back first. I did not drink tonight. I have been drinking mineral water. The one who drank is your husband. I can drive my car. I will help you send your friend back. Xia Qian wanted to object, but Jiang Zhao put his arm around Yi Er's shoulders and said to Shen Kai, Thank you, Inspector Shen. You are welcome. Xia Qian saw Jiang Zhao and did not dare to object. She wanted to ask Yi Er for help, but she noticed that Yi Er was focused on Jiang Zhao. She asked her husband if he was feeling unwell. Did he feel dizzy? Did he feel nauseous? Xia Qian was envious when she saw Yi Er helping Jiang Zhao into the car, starting the car and driving away. She wanted to drive like him one day. Xia Qian decided to make a big sacrifice today when Shen Kai was not paying attention. She stepped back secretly and ran to the road. She wanted to take a taxi back to the university town. Although it would cost a few dozen RMB, she had no choice. Shen Kai was handsome, but she would not think about those handsome guys she had offended before. She could think about them, but she could not get close to them. Although she had thought of begging God to return her peach blossoms to her, no matter how insensitive she was, she knew that handsome men might not necessarily be her peach blossoms. They might be her peach blossoms. Also, he might not be a suitor at all. If not, those tall and handsome male celebrities on TV would have already had an affair with her. Was it worth it for her to remain single? Therefore, although Shen Kai was a man who was pleasing to the eye, he was also a petty man who was calculative in every aspect. He was a petty man who ate other people's cheers and ate his own heartache. Shen Kai was definitely not a peach blossom. He was an oleander. The best way not to court death was to get out of here. Seeing the blue taxi with the green empty car on the roof, she was so excited that she jumped up and down like a beautiful zombie in the middle of the night. She reached out and waved at the taxi. Screech, the brakes sounded. Just like Jiang Zhao's bus, a black Audi stopped in front of Xia Qian. Xia Qian looked at the car. She did not know if she could buy an Audi to drive when she became a host in the future. She did not want such an A6. If she wanted to buy one, she would buy the Q series. It was so beautiful. It must be very tasteful. How much money would it take for a host to buy a Q series car? How many years would it take? Was she going to take advantage of her sister again? That would not be good, right? She would feel bad asking her sister for money after she started working. It was okay. She could pay it back in the future. At most, she would pay it back for a few more years. She would not go back on her word. She would definitely pay it back before the child turned 5. Just like that, with a car parked in front of her, Xia Qian planned her life for the next n years. She even planned it with relish. While she was in a daze, the man's cheerful voice sounded in her ear. "Miss Xia, I'll give you a ride. Get in the car." Xia Qian suddenly came back to her senses. When she saw Shen Kai smiling at her from the car, she shivered and took a step back. "Oh, it's not on the way. Sorry to trouble you, Mr. Shen." Xia Qian's intuition told her that Shen Kai was not easy to deal with. Seeing that his smile was not innocent at all, she knew that he was definitely a bad person. She did not dare to offend the government. Jiang Zhao could make it impossible for her to get a driver's license in her lifetime. Would Shen Kai make it impossible for her to get a driver's license in her next lifetime? Because of her rude words at night? The last person she should have known in her life was Yi Er. If she did not know Yi Er, she would not have frightened Jiang Zhao to the point of being afraid of a rope that was not a snake, just because he took her in a car. If she was not frightened by Jiang Zhao, she would not have been so afraid of a prosecutor's office. Shen Kai held the steering wheel with one hand and rested the other on the window. His index finger was curled and tapped on the window occasionally. When he shrugged, he raised his eyebrows and smiled mischievously. Xia Qian thought, look, this is the rotten member of the parents' team. Of course, he would be right after checking. She had never seen such a prosecutor. Therefore, when Shen Kai's next sentence came out, it made her go crazy. "It's on the way. I feel that any place in High City is on the way. You want to go somewhere else? Do you want me to send you to the train station or the airport?" Xia Qian smiled, but it was not very natural. She zipped up her khaki cotton jacket and rubbed her hands. Actually, Mr. Shen, you don't have to be so gentlemanly. I can take a taxi." "Is that so? I don't have to be a gentleman?" "Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to care about me. You can go first." Actually, it was not that she did not want to save money. If Yi Er was here, she would definitely save on the travel expenses today. However, Yi Er was not here, so she had no choice. As soon as she finished speaking, Shen Kai opened the door and got out of the car. After getting out of the car, he did not close the door of the driver's seat. Instead, he grabbed the clothes behind Xia Qian's back and lifted them up. Shen Kai was tall. Xia Qian originally thought that with Jiang Zhao, Qin Fian, Zhuang Yichen, Zhua Hao and Shen Kai, they could form a modeling team. They would definitely be popular. However, she was not tall, only about 1.6 meters. She was not even as tall as Yi Er. She also did not like to wear high heels. When Shen Kai grabbed the clothes behind her back, she felt like she was being lifted up. She was like a little chick being lifted up. Hey, 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 what are you doing? Let go of me. This lift made her chest feel uncomfortable. God, she would have to stop developing for many days again. It was too cruel. I'm not a gentleman anymore, girl. After saying that, Shen Kai opened the back door and threw Xiaqian in. You'd better not run outside. Otherwise. He paused. You know that I'm not a gentleman anymore. When he repeated this sentence, Xiaqian took a deep breath. Shen Kai slammed the back door and slowly returned to his seat. He started driving. Train station or airport? Crematorium. Xiaqian said angrily. Welfare Songshu 566. Chapter 560. Okay. Shen Kai's car drove onto the main road. As he drove, he began to tell ghost stories with great interest. When he told the story, he used the tone of a good man who respected women. Miss Xia, do you know that the crematorium in High City used to be at Mount Numinous? Xia Qian was a little dumb. When she was dumb, she felt that she was very brave. The car was not bad, just a little better than hers. I don't know. He held the steering wheel with ease and turned off the FM radio in the car. The talk show was in high spirits. When Shen Kai spoke, he paused from time to time, which had an effect of increasing suspense. It unconsciously made people tense up and their hair stand on end. Because it rained once, High City was haunted. It was on the main road that we are on now. After 12 o'clock, a child saw that the road was densely packed with people. Shen Kai glanced at the rearview mirror and saw Li Hua's face in the back seat. She swallowed her saliva and continued. But none of the drivers saw that scene. If there were children in the car, they would have been so scared that they would have screamed, "Someone's been hit. There's a car crash." A lot of people were sent flying. The adults thought that he was talking nonsense and got out of the car. The cars in front also stopped and children got out of the car. All the children began to cry, saying that a lot of people were coming and there was blood everywhere. Xiaqian grabbed the pillar under Shen Kai's seat. Okay, let's not talk about it. Let's go another way. Aren't you going to the crematorium? This road leads to the crematorium. That night, a lot of children saw people who adults couldn't see walking towards Mount Numinous. No, Mr. Shen, I want to go back to the university town. I don't want to go to the crematorium. Haha. Shen Kai tapped the steering wheel slowly, smiling bitterly. Even the words that came out of his mouth were bitter. I'm in a difficult position now. Xiaqian wished that she could jump out of the car right now, because as long as she sat in the car, she could feel that there was a child sitting in front of her. This child kept yelling, "There are so many people in front, so many people, 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 crashed into people, so many people, so many people, to Spirit Mountain, 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 Spirit Endure. After shivering for a moment, he asked, "Why is it so difficult?" Shen Kai sighed softly. The car moved forward at a moderate speed. Before you got on the car, you told me that I don't need to be a gentleman. Now I'm following your wishes. Or do I not want to listen to you? If I listened to you, I would be a gentleman. But if I disobeyed your request before you got on the car, I was still not a gentleman. If I don't listen to you, I won't be a gentleman. But if I fulfill your wish before you get on the train, I'll be a gentleman again. This really puts me in a dilemma. It's very difficult to be a person. Damn you. Xiaqian didn't curse out loud. This was clearly a very simple question. Why did it become a question of whether the chicken or the egg came first when it came out of his mouth? Shen Kai looked at the twitching expression of a certain someone behind him in the rearview mirror. The corners of his mouth twitched, and he smiled evilly. The court suit looked like something an honest person would wear. But when he wore it, he didn't look like an honest person at all. Especially when he smiled at a time like this, the clothes didn't look honest at all. Yi Er drove the car. She was a little worried that Jiang Zhao would cause trouble for her. It was so late at night, but he didn't react at all. He didn't lose his temper at all. She felt that Jiang Zhao's temper couldn't be like this because Jiang Zhao was a state official, and she was a commoner. In order to not let the atmosphere cool down and burn her, Yi Er kept trying to find a topic to talk about. Hubby, how can a person like Shen Kai sneak into the procuratorate? One look and you can tell that he's not a good person. Jiang Zhao's first reaction when he turned around was, did Shen Kai provoke you? Ah. Yi Er seemed to have been hit by a stick. I don't think he looked at you much at night. What's wrong? Did he provoke you? Jiang Zhao's tone was a little harsh. Shen Kai even praised her for being beautiful. Could it be that the hooligan molested her with his eyes? How dare he? What was going on recently? He had only been out for a few days, but he had attracted so many admirers. No. Yi Er thought to herself that she was looking for trouble when she had nothing to do. Her husband was now in a sensitive period. Mentioning men was provoking her. I think he looks very cunning. He doesn't look like a gentleman like you. Haha, honey, do you have to add the word like in front of a gentleman? It wouldn't be good if I didn't add it, right? Yi Er felt that if she didn't add the word like, she would be letting herself and the people who had been tricked by Jiang Zhao. Haha, good. Jiang Zhao laughed continuously. Yi Er relaxed a little. Since he was laughing so happily, he shouldn't cause trouble for her tonight, right? Was today's matter considered over? Why didn't he hide it? Isn't he afraid that people will say that he's a hooligan? Him? What's there to hide in front of me? It's not like I've known him for the first time. Jiang Zhao raised his hands and rested them on the back of his head. His eyes were looking at the complicated night lights in front of him. He was originally a hooligan from a wealthy family since he was young. He caused trouble everywhere. His father forced him to study law in order to instill the idea that hitting people is against the law in him. He can be considered the representative of a prodigal son turning over a new leaf in our group. God! Isn't this a scourge on society? No wonder Shen Kai didn't avoid the taboo when he spoke. He was a little arrogant. It turned out that it was a habit from when he was young. What scourge on society? Our group is all grown up. Who still causes trouble everywhere like when we were young. It's not like we're brainless people for the rest of our lives. Jiang Zhao glanced at the woman who kept talking, and was about to say something after she finished her sentence. He sneered. Yunyi, or don't you think you owe me an explanation for the 15 yuan haircut today? Yi Er's hands tightened on the steering wheel. She swallowed her saliva. Give me an explanation? You're not Qiuju. You have grievances to complain about. Why do you need an explanation? But she didn't dare to talk back to Jiang Zhao. Her eyes darted around. She turned the steering wheel to the right and stepped on the brakes. After parking the car, her nose twitched and the corners of her mouth collapsed. She leaned over the steering wheel and began to sob. I was scared to death by him today. I was scared to death. I was afraid of embarrassing myself with Xiaqian around. I didn't even dare to say that I was scared. Sob. Jiang Zhao raised his head. Jiang Zhao swore to himself that he would never pay attention to Yi Er's petty tricks again. He saw it clearly. It was a petty trick. That's enough. Jiang Zhao couldn't keep a straight face at this time. His voice was deliberately cold. She probably missed the best time to quarrel. Many things happened in between, so she didn't have a chance to put the flint paper on the flint. That's why she ended up like this. Looking at her fake crying face, He knew he couldn't get angry. Yi Er refused to look up. Once she did, he knew she was faking it. I don't want to go to school tomorrow. I don't want to go. I want to learn how to dance. Jiang Zhao sneered disdainfully. You can cause so much trouble with a pile of papers. If you learn how to dance all day long, what trouble will you cause? Jiang Zhao decided not to fall for Yi Er's tricks. She was getting more and more wild. She had gotten her way once or twice, but she used this method every time. Did she really think it would work? If you cry again, I'll throw you out of the car. Yi Er leaned on the steering wheel and stopped crying. What did he mean? Did he hate her? In the past, when she threw tantrums, he would still coax her. Be good, be good. Now he actually said he would throw her out of the car. She was his legal wife. Their marriage certificate was stamped with a steel seal. How dare he say he would throw her out of the car? Didn't he see who was sitting in the driver's seat? Who was the boss? So what if he was tall? So what if he was handsome? So what if his father was rich? So what if his father was powerful? So what if he had status and votes? Yi Er raised her head. Her eyes were dry and dry. She stared at Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao wanted to laugh, but he only made a tisk sound. She was indeed faking it. Yi Er felt that she was at an age where loyalty was high. How could she be so cowardly? When the tisk sound came from Jiang Zhao's mouth, Yi Er's heart was burning with anger. She wanted to win a round for herself. Therefore, before Jiang Zhao could finish his sentence, "Little fox, all you know is to act all day long," he had not said it out loud. The car was followed by a vroom of the accelerator. "You're cold." It shot out like a bolt from a bow. Although Yi Er had more experience than her peers and appeared to be more mature, she was at an age where she was full of youthful energy. It was inevitable that she would feel uneasy. Moreover, she was not as afraid of Jiang Zhao as before. That was why she was so bold right now. Jiang Zhao was sitting in the car when he suddenly felt a push from behind. His body moved back and forth rapidly as if he had hit a wall. He immediately reached out to grab the handle of the car roof. "Yinyi, what are you doing?" What am I doing? If you don't admit your mistake today, I won't let you off." "Why would I admit my mistake? Don't you know what you did wrong?" Yi Er said angrily. She stepped on the accelerator and released it at times. Jiang Zhao had drunk some wine that night. Sitting in the car now, he felt extremely uncomfortable being pushed and pulled by someone. Yi Er's car was like a nimble snake, shuttling through one road after another. In order to avoid or prevent a rear-end collision, Yi Er quickly braked and sped up. She did not care about the feelings of the beautiful man sitting beside her. The car was headed towards the seaside bridge. "Yinyi, are you crazy? Do you have to drive like this in the city?" "I like to drive like this. What can you do about it? Didn't you say it already? What's yours is mine. Then I have a share in this car. Besides, I'm the one driving now. I can drive however I want. Mind your own business." Jiang Zhao felt that something was wrong. Did the little fox become a little female leopard? He admitted his mistake? What mistake did he make? Shouldn't he be the one to admit his mistake today? "You're asking me to admit my mistake? I haven't asked you to admit your mistake yet. If it weren't for your indecent behavior outside all day long, would you have provoked that 250? If I can provoke them, it means that I'm charming." "What? You're not convinced?" Yi Er was going all out. She did not care anymore. He was going to throw her out of the car. She was going to make him roll out of the car today. Did he really want to pull out all her claws and teeth? Forget it for the sake of it. Did he dare to do it for real? If he really dared to be so ruthless, she would definitely not let him off easily. Jiang Zhao immediately became spirited, and the smell of alcohol wafted up. Yo! Did he hear wrongly? Did he hear wrongly? What did this little wench just say? She said that 250 provoked her, because she was charming? What? She still thought that this was a good thing? An amazing good thing? Awesome novel Hongchai 866. Chapter 561. Today it was 250, tomorrow it would be 350, And the day after tomorrow it would be 450. Even washing, cutting, and drying would develop into blow-drying and dyeing. Charm? Little wench, you still dare to say that today's matter is due to your charm? What? Of course, someone likes you when you go to a new place. You must be envious and jealous, right? You don't take me seriously, but others see me as rare? Who do you think you are? So what? You don't like me, but there are many people who like me. Hey. Jiang Zhao swallowed his saliva. Little wench, was she deliberately angering him? Yin Yi, stop the car and pull over. You have to make it clear to me today. If you don't, you're not allowed to go back. No way. I won't stop. If you have the guts, jump out of the car if you have the guts. Yi Er drove the car onto the seaside bridge. It was winter now, so she couldn't roll down the car window to feel the cool breeze on the river like in summer. However, even if it was summer now, she wasn't in the mood. Logically speaking, Yi Er shouldn't have quarreled with Jiang Zhao at this time. After all, Jiang Zhao had drunk some baijiu at night, and instinctively minded the fact that a man was close to her. At this time he was easily provoked by her, and his anger soared to the sky. There was no way to stop him. He suddenly thought of his passion going down the drain. He then thought of how she was heartless and only knew how to use him. He then thought of how he was sincerely looking out for her good. All of a sudden, he felt all kinds of unbalanced. Whether it was resentment, jealousy, or anger, with a hua sound, the flames of anger were pulled up high. What? You're asking me to jump out of the car? Yin Yi, are you King trying to murder your husband? You can't wait for me to die. Isn't that right? Yi Er thought to herself. You still want to throw me out of the car? If you have the guts, then jump. Why are you asking so many questions? Good on you, Yin Yi. You little fox grew up eating Red Crane's crown. You're so poisonous. Yi Er deliberately overtook and gave way to the car from time to time. The tempo of the speed change became faster and faster, especially when she saw Jiang Zhao frowning because of the uneven speed of the car. He looked like he was about to throw up. She felt even better. She no longer remembered that she should be concerned about her husband's health. At this moment, she only wanted to take revenge. She wanted to take revenge on him for casually saying that he would abandon her. On the seaside bridge there was not much traffic, but the speed was very fast. After crossing the bridge and driving for a few more kilometers, they would be out of Sea City. Yi Er was wild. The rebellious nature that she had been hiding in her bones for a long time was completely unleashed tonight. She was fearless, unwelcoming, and unfathomable. What she had was the youthful vigor of an eye for an eye. She was about to turn 20 years old. In the season of winter, she should burn all of her personality until it was burning red. Only then would she be satisfied. On the speedometer on the highway, the needle on the speedometer went up by a tick. Jiang Zhao was furious. Yin Yi, slow down. No reduction. Reduce. No reduction. Apologize to me. If you apologize to me, I'll reduce. Jiang Zhao did not know where he had gone wrong. His mind was in a mess because of the love affair between a man and a woman. At this moment, they were like two stones in a cesspool. Both smelly and hard. Both of them were smelly and hard. Neither of them was willing to lower their heads. Although the man's voice was unusually furious, he still maintained his male chauvinism. His head was tilted up, and the veins on his forehead were throbbing. The words that came out of his mouth were like steel beams falling on a person, heavy and painful. Fine. If you have the guts, drive to 180. At this point, there are trailers everywhere. If you crash into them and die, everything will be over. Yin Yi, if you have the guts, then step on the gas pedal to the limit. Push it above 180, push it to 200. If you see any trailers, then crash into them. If you don't crash into them, you're a coward. Jiang Zhao had drunk, but Yi Er did not. When Yi Er provoked Jiang Zhao, he could make Jiang Zhao more and more confused, but Jiang Zhao's sword was fast enough and vicious enough to kill in one strike. He did not talk to you about whose fault it was. He also did not talk to you about what was wrong with you. He just told you to crash into them. If you see any cars, then crash into them. If you don't crash into them, then you're a coward. Coward. Coward? Humph, if you crash into them, even if you're not a coward, you'll only become a pile of meat. Yi Er, who was sober, slowly eased off the gas pedal. Coincidentally, there was a highway exit. He drove down the road, past the toll booth, and turned into Yang County. Yang County. She knew this place. The last time Jiang Zhao went on a business trip to Yang County, she had found out about it and followed him here. The car stopped by the roadside. Jiang Zhao rolled down the car window, but the wind did not help. He opened the car door, got out of the car, and squatted by the roadside to vomit. Yi Er's sense of revenge slowly disappeared. After the two of them had a hysterical argument, she felt guilty when she saw Jiang Zhao's pale face vomiting after getting out of the car. She walked over and squatted down to pat his back. She did not wear a thick jacket. She did not expect to stay outside so late at night. She did not expect the temperature to drop at night, so she felt a little cold. Jiang Zhao did not wear much either. He wore the same clothes he wore to work in the day. He wore a shirt and a suit with a sweater in the middle. As the cold wind blew, he felt even dizzier. Jiang Zhao felt like his stomach was about to flip out from Yi Er's driving skills. When Yi Er reached out to touch his back, he slapped her hand away in annoyance. Yi Er was not too happy either. However, even though she was unhappy, she could not really leave him alone. She could not be like him, who casually said that he wanted to throw her out of the car. She took a few pieces of tissue from the car and bent down again. She tilted her head to look for his face. When she found his face, she stretched the tissue over and wiped the stain from the corner of his mouth. The man's features were well defined. His handsome brows were tightly knitted, expressing his poor condition. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi Er coldly from the corner of his eyes. The more he looked, the angrier he got. She actually dared to say that there were many people who liked her. Her hair was tied into a knot on the top of her head. She was just a little girl. She had clearly said that she would be with him. She had never worn colors like red or green. Now she was dressed up so young. Who was she trying to impress? Making him vomit? Fine, she did it on purpose. Did she think that he did not know? Come here, Jiang Zhao said softly. At this moment, the night wind started to blow. The air was so cold that she was shivering. This was the road into Yang County. They were just 1 kilometer away from the city. However, it was the suburbs after all. This place felt a little desolate. Yi Er squatted down and moved closer to Jiang Zhao. She did not act like a little pug and shamelessly call him hubby, like in the past. She just moved closer. Jiang Zhao took a deep breath. His handsome face was expressionless. Come closer. Yi Er pouted. She moved closer. She felt that since she had improved, she did not wag her tail and beg for pity. So what if she moved closer? What was there to be afraid of? The back of Yi Er's head was held. She was shocked. She looked at the man's eyes that were originally cold, but were now unusually bright. She suddenly realized that this was not good. She wanted to break free and run. The man held the back of her head with one hand, and her waist with the other. When he stood up, he pulled her up with him and pushed the car over. The door of the front passenger seat was not closed. The woman was controlled by his hand and pressed against the seat. Women who learned to dance were indeed different. Look at how soft her waist was. It was not strenuous for him to press her down. Yi Er looked at the man's mouth coming closer. She suddenly remembered that he had vomited earlier. Oh God, he had vomited. Her little head dodged left and right, but the undisciplined hand behind her head was too unruly and forcefully held her down. She could only clench her teeth and shut her lips tightly. She didn't even dare to scold anyone now. A crow would throw a piece of meat to a fox when it opened its mouth. Now that she opened her mouth, the fox would throw some minced meat to her to eat. It was even meat that had been digested in her stomach. It was not just meat. It was quite sumptuous. There was wine, meat, and even vegetables. Jiang Zhao was capable of doing this. She knew that the last time he was hospitalized, that meal was because he said that she disliked him and forced him to eat the soup in his mouth. Later on, if Papa did not come, he would definitely force her to eat the meat that he had chewed. When did this person change in his previous life? Could it be that he had a childhood shadow? Or did he meet with a huge setback in his life? Otherwise, how could he be so abnormal? There was a smell in her nose. That smell made her want to vomit. No matter how much she liked him, she did not like him kissing her after vomiting. But no matter how much she dodged, his mouth would still shamelessly come and eat her mouth. Thinking of that day when Fei Yin was forcefully kissed by Xia Qian. Oh God, how did Fei Yin not vomit? How could Fei Yin not vomit? Wasn't those mincemeat disgusting? Jiang Zhao's tongue forcefully stuck out Yi Er's mouth. He did not believe it. She made him vomit, so it was natural for her to be taught a lesson. Let's see if she would dare to deliberately step on the brakes and the accelerator again next time. She could mess around, but not this kind of thing. But she could only mess around with him, like now mess around. Yi Er knew that she could no longer hold it in. Especially when Jiang Zhao's mouth that had just vomited a stomach full of filth was already biting her mouth. She could no longer hold it in. Her skin was thick, but her stomach was thin, very thin. Just a slight movement, and it would cause a revolution for her. Ugh, she hiccuped. Hold on a little longer. Hold on a little longer. The man's tongue had successfully reached her mouth, but at this time, she did not think of biting off his tongue. She still wanted to live with him. What if she bit off his tongue and became a mute? What would she do? Taking a step back, if she did not become a mute, what would she do if she became a big tongue? In the future, when she called Yin Yi, she would call him Luan Yi Lu. When she called Gugu, she would call him Duo Duo. When she called Papa, she would call him Dada. She was finished. How could she still be the deputy mayor? Once she stepped down, her family would not be settled. What should she do? No. She could not do that. Yi Er realized that she was a person who knew what was right and wrong. She knew how to analyze the situation. But when she finished analyzing the situation, she realized that the man's tongue had already entered her mouth. It was as if he had never kissed her before. How good would it be if he had brushed his teeth before? Ugh, she hiccuped again. She could not hold on any longer. Especially when she thought about her fate, which was completely different from Wu Ye's. The thin-skinned Mr. Stomach finally wanted to rebel. Yi Er had thought that no matter what, she would not admit defeat today. She must return the favor. So, she used all her strength to grab the back of Jiang Zhao's head. She hiccuped for the third time. Ugh, when she hiccuped for the third time, Jiang Zhao suddenly felt something warm in his mouth. A lot of acidic liquid rushed into his mouth. Xia Qian could not argue with Shen Kai. But she had ways to deal with Qin Fian. She knew that Qin Fian was afraid that she would molest him. This was a fatal weakness. So, if she could not win against him, she would just stick to him and kiss him. He would definitely lose. Shen Kai was different. He was still fine when they were eating. But now, after they left Haiyu restaurant and got into the car, he was even more like a hooligan. If you dare to touch and kiss a hooligan like him, you can try it. Although her chest was not full, fine, it was a little flat. Fuli Xingwu 799. Chapter 562. Although her chest was a bit flat, but for an outstanding girl like her, it was inevitable that men would treat her differently. If this hooligan were to take advantage of the situation, then she would really be careless and lose the Jingzhou. Xia Qian felt that she was pitiful. Even though she had dated a boyfriend in the past, she still knew a little about men. The men she knew were from books and classmates. The male students in her class were a little worried that she would fall in love with them, and then become a bisexual. So they tried to avoid her as much as possible. How sad and bitter was that? Xinyuan, are you going to argue until dawn? Xia Qian obviously had no way to fight back. What could she do? If someone was put in a difficult position because of a question, it would be hard to tell whether the chicken or the egg came first. If they were to write a proof question, they could at least trace it back to an unknown era. Then they would continue to argue until everyone was in their coffins, and there would still be two factions. Is there a need to argue until dawn? Keep driving and we'll reach Mount Lingshan. I'll come back after sending you to the crematorium. So you're saying that you're going to send me to the crematorium, and not to send me back to school? Xia Qian felt that she should calm down at this time. This grandson wanted to argue with her. What did she learn? Media. The future top 10 best host, a rising star, sat in such a broken Audi and couldn't even win against a hooligan driving a broken Audi. How could she face the millions of viewers? How could she face the fans who had always supported her to success? It's okay. Let's go. I heard that there's nothing to be afraid of in places with strong yang energy. Xin Yuan, you're a man full of yang energy sitting in a car. What's there to be afraid of? You're not a person who's neither a man nor a woman. Even ghosts would be afraid of you. So after thinking about it, there's nothing to be afraid of. Nothing to be afraid of? She could only lie to the ghost sisters and brothers on this road. In fact, she was scared to death. Shinkai made a tisk sound. Strange, this girl was not so stupid now. Was she really pretending? I'm thirsty. I want to drink water. Xia Qian felt that she should stop the car and find a shop to buy a bottle of water. Then, she could see if there were any children around and let the children see if the road was full of people. Shinkai said, "Turn your hand over. There's water on the shelf behind." Xia Qian lowered her head. I'm hungry. There are biscuits and bread on the shelf. Forget it, you drive. I'm going to take a nap. Xia Qian felt that she had thrown caution to the wind. She could only admit that she was unlucky to have met such a powerful young master. If he was going to mess with her no matter what and drag her to Mount Lingshan, then she could only make an appointment with the ghosts tonight. She could do an interview with them and ask them how their lives were like in the netherworld. She could get straight to the point and ask, "Brother Ghost, are you happy?" Then they Saturday. Did the king of hell owe them their wages? Of their working hours? How much was the salary during the holidays? After all, the living standards in the mortal world had improved. The trend of aging was becoming more obvious. Business in the netherworld might not be so good. But now medical accidents, car accidents, murder, drug abuse, eating oil, drinking a bottle of milk, and drinking water could all be fatal. Therefore, business in the underworld could also be very good. Xia Qian felt that the main content of the interview tonight should revolve around the livelihood of the people. After all, it was good that everyone was good. Shinkai looked at the rearview mirror. She really fell asleep? When he mentioned it just now, she was so scared and clutched the thin pillar behind his head. Wasn't this speed of calmness a little too fast? How was her brain made? God! Her breathing was even? Just how heartless was she to be like this? Jiang Zhao and Yi Er squatted by the roadside. They were vomiting, but they still continued. How did that song go? Have you ever disgusted me? Have I ever disgusted you? Being with disgusting friends is happier than anything else. Jiang Zhao thought that he had enough stamina, but he didn't expect Yi Er to vomit everything into his mouth. This bag was all wrapped up, and he almost swallowed it. After the two of them finished vomiting, they went to the trunk to rinse their mouths. Yi Er didn't feel disgusted anymore. She remembered what happened last time. This time, she felt that she had to give Jiang Zhao a good psychological lesson. She raised her mouth and spat out the water in her mouth. After a few times, she said to Jiang Zhao, "Jiang Zhao, what do you mean? Didn't you say that I shouldn't be disgusted? Didn't you say that you were going to chew meat and vegetables and spit them into my mouth last time? Why can't you accept the food I chewed today? Are you disgusted with me? How can that be the same? After you chewed and swallowed, it's sour now. When I chewed and spit it out for you, it was fresh and not expired. Even if you can't live on, you won't have to eat expired food in the future, right?" Jiang Zhao said with a face that said, "That's the truth." Yi Er sighed. "God forgive me. I really can't argue with him. I can only lose." Jiang Zhao was almost sober. He slowly started to think about what happened just now. He got into the car and said, "Let's go find something to eat. I'm hungry." "You ate so much of my expired food and you're still hungry? Huh?" Jiang Zhao didn't answer. He closed his eyes and rested. As he rested, the corners of his mouth curved slightly. He was blatantly telling Yi Er that he was up to something. Yang County was located on the outskirts of Haicheng, but it was also Haicheng's harem. Many rich people in Haicheng would buy villas in Yang County to avoid the summer heat. It was really comfortable. Yang County had been developing tourism, so there were many local specialties. Of course, many of them were fake. People said in skits, "The taste is very good, but it's too little." However, there were some snacks in Yang County that were advertised a lot, but the taste is really bad. Almost all the tourist cities in the country had their own antique street. It was called Imitation Antique Street, and there were many snacks. Yi sat in front of a small square table with red lanterns hanging on the street like a festival. She looked around at the green bricks and gray tiles without much interest. She poked the glutinous rice cake in front of her with a thin skewer, and looked at the barbecue in front of Jiang Zhao. She swallowed her saliva. She had chosen the glutinous rice cake herself. She had never eaten it before and wanted to try it. After trying it, she felt that it wasn't good and wanted to change. Jiang Zhao said, "Honey, you don't know how hard it is to earn money. It's shameful to waste a single cent." Shameful? He knew how to be shameful. Therefore, the woman who lived off a man could only put the glutinous rice cake in front of her and poke it, drooling as she looked at her husband's barbecue. Jiang Zhao ate with relish. As he ate, he said to Yi, "Actually, no matter how bad this glutinous rice cake is, you chose it yourself. If you throw it away, you'll be throwing money away. So you have to eat it. That's how you're responsible for it." "But I don't want to be responsible for it. I want to be responsible for the barbecue in front of you," Yi said with a pout. "Yin Yi, you're a classic example of eating what's in the bowl but looking at what's in the pot. Xiaqian is right." Jiang Zhao looked very serious, but his eyes were a little sly. Both of them were tall. When they sat at the stall to eat barbecue, they had to bend down. Otherwise, it would be easy for the cumin to fall on their clothes. Yi looked up at Jiang Zhao. At that time, she thought that he didn't hear her. She didn't expect him to hear her. Xiaqian, this rascal, really wanted to kill her. She cursed that rascal to be scared to death by a ghost. "Since when did I eat from the pot, but look at the bowl? Hubby, Xiaqian is slandering me." Yi finally gave in. Whenever she called him hubby, she either gave in or had other motives. At least most of the time. Jiang Zhao ordered another bottle of herbal tea. He never liked to eat food with strong flavors. It wasn't because it tasted bad. In the end, it was because he was vain and was afraid of getting pimples. He wouldn't tell Yi this reason. It was okay to eat it occasionally. It was fine to drink some herbal tea to relieve the heat. He took the herbal tea from the stall owner and rummaged through Yi bag for a pack of tissues. He took out a piece of tissue and wiped the noodles for a while. Then he began the formal ideological education lesson for tonight. "Yin Yi, you said that you didn't eat from the bowl but look at the pot." "I promise I didn't." "Then what did you say in the car just now?" "You said that there are many people out there who want you." Jiang Zhao had sobered up at this time. He was very gentlemanly and wasn't sulking. He smiled and spoke patiently. However, Yi felt that there was a needle hidden in cotton. It was very insidious. After taking a sip of the herbal tea, Jiang Zhao continued to eat the barbecue as if nothing had happened. He left Yi alone to poke the glutinous rice cake even more. She stuttered and didn't know how to explain the situation to Jiang Zhao. She did say something like that. "She didn't do anything wrong, right? This is not the same as what you said at the beginning. This is not eating from the bowl but looking at the pot. I don't accept this kind of slander." Slander. Jiang Zhao was eating the barbecue, but his movements were very elegant. He put the bamboo skewer horizontally to the side of his mouth and bit off a piece of meat. He took the skewer away and chewed the meat. However, the way he chewed was so good that even young girls would turn around to look. The tourist street was a little better. There were few locals. Not many locals would go to Fanggu Street to eat barbecue. It was expensive and might not be as delicious as the stalls outside the neighborhood. "Then do you dare to say that you didn't say those words?" "I said it." "You think that there are people out there who want you. You are very proud, you are very impressive, and you are very proud. You want to spread this kind of arrogance, and finally achieve the effect of arrogance. Am I right?" "No, no. Why did you ask me so arrogantly if I am convinced?" Jiang Zhao was still smiling. He felt that he couldn't use violence on this little wife for the time being. He had to be gentler. Therefore, when he smiled, his eyes were really gentle. Wife, how do you think I am convinced? Should I compete with you to see who has more admirers outside? Yi Er was completely convinced. Could she compare with him? How many people wanted to climb into his bed? It also depended on whether he wanted it or not. Not everyone was as good as the Ouyang Yan and as elegant as the Ouyang Yan. I said those words out of anger. Words out of anger. Yes, who asked you to say that you wanted to throw me out of the car? This time, it was Jiang Zhao's turn to be stunned. He said that he wanted to throw her out of the car? When Yi Er saw Jiang Zhao's shock, she knew that she had hit the snake's body. She wasn't too sure. I was just angry at that time. You were fine, but you actually said that you wanted to throw me out of the car. I am your wife. If you throw me out of the car, where do you want me to go? Add Xingwu799. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.